Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 4 of the Racecraft GT3 Mini Enduro Series here, brought to you on SRW TV. Tonight, I am your commentator, Hamish Runner. Alongside me, though, finally, after 2 weeks of when he was supposed to be in here, but unfortunately out due to sickness, it is Ryan Green. Ryan, how are you going tonight, mate?
I'm doing a lot better now. Good things come to those who wait. So keen to get, like, was it round 3 or 4 this round? I think it's 4, is it?
Yeah, round 4.
4. Second guess myself. That's a good start. Round 4 tonight. Road Atlanta. Finally good to get finally in here, but here we are.
I think we could be in for a hot night of racing. I think this Road Atlanta circuit lends itself so well to GT3 cars. Unfortunately, my overlay once again deciding not to work for me, so we'll try and fix this as we talk about it. But of course, I mean this circuit known for, I guess, mainly in iRacing for Petit Le Mans in the officials, and of course, I mean GT3s run around here probably every single season, don't they?
Yeah, just about every season. I mean, it's an absolute staple of iRacing. Came out all the way back in 2009. It's probably made an appearance in the calendar pretty much every season since then. You got a bit of everything at this track. You got your sharp 90-degree corners on the back end, your S's in the first sector, and you got a nice long straight during the third sector, so you can get a good bit of overtaking. Good lot of elevation change. Turn 2, decently hard challenge, being uphill into an uphill braking zone, cresting, and then down the hill again. One of the tougher corners, I would say, on the entire track. And turn 7, it doesn't look it when you first look at it, but way sharper than you always think it is every time. It always surprises me. It always gets everybody out, just how sharp it is on the exit.
I think as well, I mean, I guess one of the corners that can really take people by surprise is that the chicane at the end of the straight as well. It's, you get your braking zone wrong there, you're going to end up in the sand pit straight ahead, or if you make a mistake coming through the chicane as well, you could see your rear end come round and end up on the sand pit on the left-hand side of the circuit. I think one other spot I think we're going to have to keep an eye out for as well is the final corner. You catch the grass there, it's just going to shoot your car into the inside wall, and it could mean big trouble for you in terms of where you end up in the race. Although 90 minutes of racing, plenty of time to come back if you do get into an incident. So we could be in for some hard, fast action tonight, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. Great spot there. Probably the main spot for an overtake is the chicane there. Downhill braking zone though, however, so it's very daring to be late on the brakes there. You really got to hit your mark. If a couple meters too late, and as you said, you will be straight ahead into the sand trap.
So we'll see these drivers finish up their practice session now. About a minute to go in practice, and then we'll get into the long half-an-hour qualifying session as Adam Simpson just goes off track. So we'll focus on somebody else whilst we try and get these overlays working for you. Of course, as well, if you missed last week's race at a Magny Core, it was a bit of a 7-driver sprint out there for an hour and a half, just trying to see who could last the longest. So everyone is eager to get into racing. We luckily, though, have got a bigger field this week, Ryan. We are up to 14 drivers this week, so twice as many entries as last time out. Road Atlanta, it's a fairly nicely sized circuit. I like to call it the pork chop of race circuits because you look at that top-down race, the track layout, and it looks like a pork chop. So, but these guys could all be in for a nice and tasty finish to tonight's race if they can keep it clean and stay fast out there.
And it doesn't feel anywhere near as small as it is. Only about a 1 minute. It should be seeing high 17s for the fastest into the 19s and 20s near the back of the grid for the lap time. So quite a short lap, but when you're out there, it really feels like it's a 130, 140 lap time. There's just a lot going on, especially in the first sector. It's, left, right, through down the S's, constantly doing something. There's not a lot of downtime, only real downtime on the back straight, of course, but yeah, it's just one of those tracks that's deceptively short, akin to, I would say, Brands Hatch is another one of those where it's a lot shorter than what you actually recall it being.
So
hey boys, sorry to interrupt.
Oh, it's all right, Tyson. Say hello to the broadcast.
Hey guys, I just got to steal Hamish and Ryan for a sec. Hamish, can we clear comms, please, for the stream?
Yeah, that's all right, mate.
to turn one. This is amazing. Up and clash heads again.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We just had a little bit of a technical difficulty that we had to fix up just there in the back end, but we are now getting sorted for qualifying here as I try to get our overlays back up and running today, so that we can at least have some info on screen for you. And there they are, finally decided to fix themselves, which is nice. So, there we go, very good. Right then, so as these drivers, as I think that was Miles Burgess then in the CXR Audi hitting the wall there. So just as they get onto their outlaps, Ryan, let's just bring up the race info for this circuit. So we see, well, the pork chop-esque track map that I mentioned earlier. Nice little 20 degrees here tonight, 9% humidity, cloudy, 10 kilometers of wind. It's a 4.6k circuit, so you're right, Ryan. It's actually a bit longer than what you expect in terms, compared to how fast the lap times are, but I think that just comes down to how fast you can actually get around this track with that long back straight and the real fast Sector 1 through into Sector 2 as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of corners, especially in it's a 12-corner track on what's 8 and 9. You don't really want to corner down and back straight, but they're according to the track map corners, as we see Ferrari go around in the background there. But yeah, it is a bit longer than you think, but a short lap time, so just a lot of speed carrying through Sector 1, really on edge. Rear of the car can be dancing around quite a lot.
So the first two drivers set a lap time in this qualifying session. Of course, though, we are only 3.5 minutes into it. Half an hour is the total time for the session. Miles Burgess backing up his performances over the last couple of weeks as Jack Anderson from Velocity Racing heads into the wall there, unfortunate for him. We'll go with Adam Simpson here from Fishy Motorsports. So Miles Burgess does a 118.88 there. Very impressive time from him. And then Daniel Fritz does a 20.59 as Matthew Gerard there from New Zealand gets in with a 119.3 to go into P2. So the lap times are coming fast and hard already here, Ryan, although Miles could be on for a personal best again.
Yeah, a couple of purple sectors there as he does go a little bit faster there, a 118.7.
So we know how fast he can be, though. I mean, he's been quick across the whole season, and I guess he's finally trying to find his footing in that Audi R8 LMS car, but I think he's been overshadowed a little bit by both Greg and Adam Hughes in that CXR outfit. So what would
Sorry
you
about that.
No,
Sorry about that. Just had a little bit of mic issues and went to spin it, nothing came through.
That's all good. It happens to the best of us. But what would you say? What would you say? I guess would be the biggest challenge for these drivers tonight around this, very well-known Road Atlanta circuit.
For me, it's turn 1. It's a complete commitment corner. Mess up that corner, your lap's completely gone. And then you got to do the do another round of the track just to set another one. But the uphill corner on the apex, you get a lot of compression through there, and as soon as it decompresses, the rear can become quite unstuck all the way through there. It's barely a braking zone, more of a touch of the brakes just to get the nose in, but it's a very fast corner. And yeah, as I said, quite uphill, and you've got to get that car back right round to the right-hand side of the track for the entry to turn 2 and through turn 3. You can take a lot of curve here at turn 3. Just being quite mundane there through turn 3 miles per just was, but take too much, it will give you the off track. That's another one of the corners where grab too much of it and you're just not going to have any front ends. I like my front wheels on the ground to get the car around a corner, but you're gonna struggle around turn 4 with your front end in the air.
Oh, 100%, mate. I remember I had a race around here last year actually, and tried to go too wide through turn 1, and the car does not want to play ball if you are offline because it just wants to run wide, and then you come in collision with the car beside you, and then you both end up in the weeds on the left-hand side of circuit. So, I mean, there's a lot of passing opportunities around this track. We see Miles coming up to one of them now, and if you can get on the brakes at that perfect moment, you can late brake slightly, but again, we mentioned the risks of, you know, out-braking yourself, ending up in the sand on the other side and into the Formula D section of the little turn 10B that is there. So, you know, there's a lot of things. It looks like a simple circuit, but it can actually be very difficult, especially after 90 minutes of racing.
Yeah, it's a concentration circuit. You can't really lose it. There's not a lot of runoff at all at this track. And even as we were saying through turn 1, if you just run a little bit wide and grab 2 of your left-hand wheels on the outside of the grass there, it's oblivion. That wall is coming up real quick, and there's not a lot you can do to keep it out of it. It is a decent way from the track. It's not exactly a close wall, but carrying such speed and such commitment through there, you know, you may be lucky to snag a little bit of the gravel if you go off a little bit sooner, but otherwise you're going to be straight back to the pits at the end of that lap.
Adam Simpson and Greg Barber have both been able to get ahead of Miles Burgess' 118.69. Simpson being able to outdo him here by a tenth in 18.59. Greg Barber is your current provisional pole sitter on a 118.08. You know, it's tight at the top. Whether Adam Hughes can actually get out there and get a time in today is going to be the real question. Of course, he's had his internet issues, dropped out of the race last time out twice, and really just put him out of contention. We know the pace that he's had in these GT cars over the past couple of weeks, but it's whether his internet can allow him to do what he does best and just light up the circuit in his BMW M4.
As we see Jake Edwards there banging a 118.6, we are just on the brink here of the 117s. I was looking at a few reference laps prior to the race. It was, yeah, getting into the 17s with a very quick times. I looked at a lap from Sven Haas prior to the race. 8K driver, an absolute machine around here, do a 17.3. I believe the fastest car he did it in was the BMW, so that could be very strong here tonight.
Surprisingly, though, a big influx of Audis, though, as well.
Big influx of Audis, yes. Audi is my my flavour of GT3. Big fan of the onion rings on the front there.
Up until the latest update to the GT cars, I was loving the Porsche, but I have gone back to being a BMW boy once again. But although, speaking of that, actually, I mean, we currently have 4 drivers in the session who get to set a time. Jack Anderson and Jordan Ferguson, both from Velocity Racing. Jet Murray and then Adam Hughes. Jet, ironically, this is his first race he's entered this season, and he's the only Merc to enter so far. So we have not seen one of the, I don't want to call it a Silver Arrows because his livery is not silver, but we've not had a Merc yet this season. We're still awaiting someone to rock up in a Lamborghini one week, just to see how that mid-engine madness goes for that car. I mean, only one Fez this week, no Andrew Cowan, no Mark Cochran in the Apex Esports League car and the Performance Sim Racing car, both of them running the Fez. But it's going to be interesting to see, you know, we speak about how the Porsche is so strong, as Jack Anderson has another massive moment there in the 319 Audi. It's going to be interesting to see, you know, what the comparison is between the Beamer and the Audi, because they have been the strongest cars all season so far, Ryan.
Yeah, the Audi, it has a lot of the same characteristics I found last season as the Porsche before the new BOP update. So those who were rapid in the Porsche did transition over to the Audi. Obviously, it's not the same. It's like comparing whole meal bread and white bread, but a lot of the characteristics are the same. You can do a couple of the same stuff. It's quite easy to set up, quite simple. It has a decently small setup window, but not ridiculous like the current Porsche. But the BMW, yeah, I'm just not a front engine guy. But it just seems those who love the front engines are just can do something with the front end to get them around the corner that I just don't quite understand.
I found there are certain tracks that really lend themselves to both types. So I find Bathurst is it's ironic. I find it actually suits the Beamer more to my driving style, but then there's people in my team who prefer the Audi around there as well. So I think it comes down to your driving styles, and sort of like I started in a rear engine car. My first GT car that I drove on iRacing was the Fez. Then I moved over to the Lambo, and then now I've been driving the Beamer for so long. It's almost like, you know, your driving style kind of changes the more you adjust how you drive, and the faster you get. You kind of have to then move into different types of cars. But yeah, I think, you know, the Audi and the Beamer have been such a staple for so long. I think the Porsche, unfortunately, has been really hurt by this previous update, because the Porsche was super strong before the update came in, and it would have been one of the favourites for this championship. But I think you are right. The Beamer and the Audi at the moment, they're the strongest in the field, and well, you can just tell by the times. Top 4 cars are either a Beamer or an Audi at the moment. Although Doug Gowan's done well to get his fire-breathing dragon of a McLaren up there in the top 5 right now. He's really improved over the last couple of weeks, Ryan.
It's just, it looks like a comic book car under brakes with the fire coming out of the rear. I don't know how this thing does more than one lap with the fuel burn that must be coming out of the rear exhaust there.
There are stories that there is an extra fuel tank just for the flamethrower in those cars, but I remember I mentioned it to Preach in the first week that if they bring in the new McLaren just for us fans of that McLaren, they need to give it the flamethrower, even if it doesn't happen in real life, because it'd be such a shame to, you know, even though we'd be getting a new McLaren, it'd be a shame to lose the fire-breathing dragon.
Yeah, I think Elon Musk might have had a little bit something to say with that. Was it the Boring Company flamethrower that he brought out? Maybe he's found its way on, stuck a couple of those on the back of the McLaren, and it lives on.
I mean, who knows? I mean, they added in the ARCA car with the Gen 4 NASCAR engine, so maybe they can just do a cheeky little thing and just, you know, have it on there just for us fans of the flamethrower, you know. I doubt that they would ever give us an update that makes the front of other cars that follow it look burnt, but I think it's just such a visual thing that, you know, no other cars do it, you know. The supercars might split flames a little bit, but nothing breathes fire like that McLaren does.
No, absolutely nothing comes close. I wonder if once they eventually bring rain out, it affects it at all. I doubt it, but you know, it is a simulator after all.
It'd be cool if you could see like steam coming off the back
Steam,
of the car.
yeah, steam.
But yeah, I think I mean, whenever rain comes in, I predict there's just going to be a whole season of rain races, just to get people practice in for it. But I think it'd be hilarious if they brought out rain like before Bathurst 1000 happens, and then people are just thrown in the deep end of 1000 and have to drive the whole thing in the rain. You know, in a supercar around Bathurst, it's already difficult enough, but when you've got a slick track, it will be just headache-inducing, I reckon.
Do you have any predictions for rain? Do you think it'll work straight out of the gate?
I think so. They've spent, 2 years on it at this stage. They still haven't released it. Like, we know that it looks done from images that they've put out, but I think it will work when they bring it out. They'll take their time with it, unlike other game making companies or you know, or other game producers or designers. So they're going to take their time to make sure it is right, because it will be such a big thing in the game that they won't want to release it where it's broken, because it will break the whole thing.
I guess something to keep in mind, as opposed to like Kunos and ACC with just their GT3 cars, is there's so many different cars in racing, so many different tyre models you need to take into account. It's not just your GT3s and GT4s. You got your supercars, you got your open wheelers, you got your even NASCARs and dirt cars. All are going to be getting this rain update. Maybe they won't get the dirts going immediately. I'm not sure if we've had any news on whether they're going to do the whole,
I think
all of the series.
The dirt would probably actually be the easiest to implement, because like I know most of the Pro 4 tracks, they're already slippery even when dry. So I think those would actually be okay. It's actually about whether you'd actually get bogged if you went off the track. So I think the dirt tracks would probably actually be the easiest to implement. But yeah, as you said, it's the amount of car models that they have to get, the tyre models they have to get right for the rain in all the different types of cars. there's a reason why they're taking their time with it and making sure that it is perfected, because, as I said, they don't want it to be broken when they release it, because, like, I don't even remember the last time they released something where it was completely broken and unusable. You know, at least with cars, you can do a setup and it makes it drivable.
No, the developers do an amazing job. I mean, every track in this game obviously is impeccable in terms of the laser scan type. Sure, it's not the prettiest game, but even then we've seen some graphic updates in the works coming for this game. So it's amazing what they can do off an engine that's built in 2008. Still waiting for that UI update. Still stuck in the Stone Age, but
I mean,
it's
the UI has actually been made a little bit nicer though. Now they've got like the nice like neon colors on your licenses and stuff like that. But,
I was talking the in-game UI.
oh, the in-game UI, yeah, that does need a little bit of it. They even just to give you like a dark mode or something. Just
Yeah, yeah.
bit, but, the game still looks incredible for what is a 15-year-old title. No matter how good games like Forza or Gran Turismo look, the car physics just do not compare to what is on iRacing. I think the only one that really comes close is probably like a Assetto Corsa, and even then, that it's only Competizione that bounds better than what iRacing looks like. So. Yeah, so we've got about 13 minutes of qualifying left. Not every car has set a lap time though, but Adam Hughes is finally out there setting a lap time for himself. The only other two drivers yet to get on track is Jet Murray and Jordan Ferguson. So as mentioned, we are looking at having a 14-car grid here tonight, so a nice and healthy field, or at least a healthier field than what we've had previous rounds, which is good to see. We of course want to try and get more drivers involved in the series. We have Shibby in the chat saying, "Give it to Ryan. He has been slacking off."
Says the guy not in the box tonight. It's Rich.
Also,
Rich, very rich.
Also says the guy who wants to go and play football every Wednesday night. It's good to have a passion for something, and it's good that Shibby is passionate about his futsal. So, but yeah, I think. I guess. You do your work on Thursday nights and stuff like that.
Myself? Were you talking?
Yeah.
No, I'm guilty. I play basketball Wednesday nights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm a day type of work. I'm a chef by trade, so night times for me are my sports for the most part, and well, being here as I've been the last couple of nights.
Oh well, I mean, hopefully we can get you more and more involved in the series as a broadcaster, and get you on the broadcast more often as well, because it's good to have some not necessarily insider knowledge, but knowledge from someone who has been involved in GT racing and stuff like that. Of course, Ryan races or has been racing in my Simsa series, so you've at least had 4 rounds in that of practice in an Audi, but yeah, I think. It's good to have someone bounce off in a broadcast. No matter how much I like doing it on my own, it is good though to have someone in here to chat to throughout proceedings, because it makes it go that little bit faster.
Yeah, GT3s and 86s are my main series. I mean, I'm by no means an alien in either of those cars. I think I'm quite serviceable, but I'm definitely nowhere as good as these guys. But at least I'm familiar with it. It's good being able to talk about the car that you drive. It helps a lot. I feel like if I was commentating a V8 series, I'd have no idea what I was talking about. That's why it's so good Preach doing it. Me and him being good friends now for a while now, but so good him doing it. He's one of the most knowledgeable person I know when it comes to supercars, hands down. He knows concerning amount of stuff about supercars, just the most random stuff that you wouldn't even think about. You can just recall a race from 2007 in Perth, or anything.
I can recall stuff to do with championships or drivers in the Supercars Championship. Can't remember certain specific races unless they were a big one like Sandown or Bathurst. But yeah, I think it's good to have someone who has that much knowledge about something, especially on a broadcast with you, because it helps you talk about more content throughout. Adam Hughes, by the way, has just come around for his second lap. He's already gone top of the timesheets with an 18.02. So he's showing these boys that he has come into play and put in a fight for the win today. So I have got word we are waiting on one more driver joining as well. I had to quickly invite them to the league so then they could join before the end of the quali session. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to race. So hopefully they can get in here, set a time, and be a real challenge tonight. But it'll be interesting to see. Jordan Ferguson has also now been able to set a time, so we are just awaiting Jet Murray to get out there, see what he can do in that Mer, and see how far up the pecking order he can get. Jordan, though, speaking of him, is actually currently on 2 personal best sectors, make that 3. So he will go faster as long as he doesn't bottle this final sector here, Ryan. His former time was a 19.49. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do here and whether he can get past Mitch McIntyre.
Yeah, it looks like those tyres have definitely come into the window now for Jordan. Going to cross the line right now and set a 19.9, so a bit of improvements to the second off the back of Adam Hughes, sitting just on the heels of a 17, then 18.01. But yeah, great lap there, moves him up into 9th place.
Yep, so he jumps both Mitch McIntyre and Daniel Fritz thanks to that lap. He has got to gain about 0.15 of a tenth to get past Matthew Gerard in P8. Jordan, of course, giving us a little bit of an international flavour, being the only English driver out there. The rest of the drivers are either from Australia or from New Zealand, so it's good to have some, different sort of areas of, I'm trying to think what the word is, different areas where people come from getting involved in the series as well, which is good. But yeah, Jordan not racing out of the UK though, racing out of Australia, but representing the UK in this one, being that he's from there. So he gives us an extra place to talk about, Ryan.
Yeah, not a very Australian field out there in an Australian series. We really only don't see too much intercontinental representation as opposed to the Europe series, where there's quite a lot of different countries obviously around there. But it's good to see people representing their countries of origin. Australia, obviously a very multicultural destination. Wow, what a save there from Miles Burgess! All sorts of sideways through turn 1. And just takes to the exit road, yeah.
So Barber and Hughes currently on for a better lap time. We'll go with Adam Hughes, who's currently P1. Can he crack a 17? He's gone session best in the 3rd sector. Could we see an absolutely monumental time here from Adam Hughes? It's not looking likely, but what does he do? A 17.82, so he does do it. Can Greg Barber respond as he makes his way around the final corner? Crosses the line. Does a 17.9. So both those CXR Beamers are really just a cut above the rest at the moment. It's a Beamer 1, 2, and 3. And then the rest of the top 6 made up by the Audis as well. So we mentioned earlier, the Beamers and the Audis, Ryan, they are the front of the field at the moment.
Yeah, Beamer particularly strong here around Road Atlanta. That lap from Greg Barber would have been pole position if he crossed the line just before Adam Hughes, but Adam Hughes unfortunately beat him to the punch there with, as you said, a 17.8. So, yeah, we were just talking about can people crack into the 17s, and then we had 2 people crack into the 17s within the space of about 10 seconds of each other.
Can Adam Hughes do it, though? He's really the only closest challenger at the moment. His former fastest lap was an 18.14. That was the last lap that he was able to complete as well. It appears that he might be on a bit of an outlap right now. So we'll have to see if he can improve upon it on his next fast flying lap. We've got just under or just over 5 minutes to go now, Ryan. So now it's got to get hasty for these drivers. They got to get the tyres warmed up. You know, it can take up to 2 laps to get them warm. So they got to get out there now so they can get in a final flying lap in the final moments before the qualifying session ends.
Yeah, quite a half an hour qualifying session. So you get quite a few goes at the cookie jar, so to speak. Tonight, but quite a short track, as we were saying pre-race, so it does take about 2 laps to get those tyres nice into the window. You can have over half an hour span, probably 3 or 4 runs on those quality tanks of fuel before you run out of grip in the tyres and you're not going to go any faster. But this is where the track is the most green. Oh, sorry, not green. The other way around is the most rubbered in, and this is where we're going to be seeing the time. This is hammer time.
So Hughes and Barber now back on track, so they would have come in, gotten some fresh rubber, and going out just to try and defend their lap times that they've done. There was a little bit of smoke on track then, but I think someone might have just locked up slightly into the next braking zone. So we now have got our 15th driver in the session. It is Jack Michelson for Velocity Racing. So he's coming in the Beamer. He's gone the opposite way of the top end to his teammates Jordan Ferguson and Jack Anderson. A very quick operator in the supercar. We'll have to see if it can translate over to the GT car though, Ryan.
Yeah, fashionably late. He'd be just happy to set a lap this late in the race. You'd hope I mean, this is a track that most people know if you're doing GT racing, so everybody on here, if you're familiar with the GT car, should pretty much be able to pick up and drive it. So should still get a lap in. Still only 3.5 minutes left in the session before we see the end of qualifying here. So we'll have a time to have a couple goes at a quali run, but I'm sure he would have preferred the full halfer.
Well, I mean, as long as he can set a lap time, he has got race pace about him. Well, I know from personal experience, he can get it done when it's on his day. It's about keeping his head clear and cool. So it's whether he can set a time in these final 3 minutes. He will get 2 laps in, so it will mean he at least has 1 lap to warm the tyres up and then go for a full push towards the end of the session here, Ryan.
Yeah, you can almost treat this as a like the 2-lap official sessions that you get. You go 1 lap for your banker and then you go full send on the second, see what you can do. So at least it's everyone's familiar with this format, 2 laps. Only difference is this time you might get a bit of a tow.
Well, it will help him quite a fair bit, although that's going to be the end of his qualifying session though, in the wall. So he will fail to set a time. He won't have enough time to tow and get back out on... Oh, actually, he might be able to set 1 lap if he can get round fast enough. But he's got to get out there now. He does. So we'll have to keep an eye on what he can do, but it will just be a bit of a consolation for him on where he will start the race. But it's either going to be last or it's going to be somewhere in the field. So it's you know, that's a shame for him. He would have been pushing hard to try and get that lap in, but just needs to keep the head cool now. So Adam Hughes, provisional pole leader at the moment, Ryan, and what a qualifying session he's had, a 1:17.8 here. Just such an impressive run throughout the whole series for him.
Yeah, that's getting up there with the quick times. Anything in the 17s you'd be pretty happy with, especially in the BMW, as we've seen, it's very strong around here. I think these cars, especially the BMW and the Merc with the front engines, a lot of elevation change lends it well to the weight of the car being over the front. So it performs, as we can see, quite well. Just kind of get these tires nice and warm for one last crack at it, see if you can go even quicker. Greg, with a 17.9 there, is still definitely pushing hard, going for it. So
he was only 200ths off his fastest time there, Ryan.
He was, yeah, very close. So we know how quick Greg is as well, so he might have a bit in him. I don't think Adam Hughes is quite happy with the 1/10 gap. Maybe wants to go a little bit quicker just to really be safe.
The closest gap in the field at the moment in terms of lap time is Stephen Brooks and Jake Edwards, P5 and P6. Those guys currently separated by 0.03 of a second, so 300ths separate P5 and P6 of the starting grid. Of course, they will be starting on the same row, no matter if they pip each other or not for the same position. But it will be interesting to see how close these times can get over the course of this final lap. So we'll sit with the provisional pole sitter Adam Hughes at the moment to see if he can improve that time. But I will be keeping an eye on throughout the timing tower on my screen to see if anyone just does some magic and jump into a reasonable position at the end of this qualifying session.
Yeah, only green sector right now for Mitch McIntyre through sector 2, improving. All other drivers orange sectors, so unable to improve on their lap times. So don't know if we're going to see any, as Adam Hughes, as we see purple sector 2, so he's flying through there.
Miles Birch is also doing a personal best sector 2 as well, so we'll see if he can pip Adam Simpson to make it a CXR 1-2-3 once again in qualifying. Jack Michelson, though, has done 2 personal best first sectors, although he has not yet been able to set a lap, so it will be interesting to see what he can set here in qualifying. Hughes crosses the line. Oh, what does he do? I believe he's just done a 17.88, so not bettering his time. Burgess does a 17.95 to get into the top 3. We now wait to see what Jack Michelson can do as he approaches the final corners here, Ryan.
Yeah, this could be anybody's guess of where this car's going to land, although looking at the clock, yeah, just a 20.4, so good enough for 13th there. But really only one crack at it, as we saw his spinner just a bit earlier on coming out of turn 5, so
it's
he'd be happy just to get a lap in, I think.
I think you are exactly correct there, but a bit of a consolation for him. At least he won't be starting off the very back of the field, but it will be interesting to see if he can just rustle his way through and really make a charge for the front of the field. So we await for the results to come in so we can show you the official qualifying results there for this session. It was half an hour of qualifying. Then we're going to be going into 90 minutes of racing around Road Atlanta, the Mini Enduro Series, brought to you by Racecraft here on SRW TV. And I think the fact that we now have a much bigger grid than last time out is going to do us, well, a massive positive in terms of racing this week, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. And the shorter track, as we were saying as well, is going to make it seem like there's maybe more than 14 cars as well, making it call quite a bit longer than Road Atlanta. I almost said Road America, 2 A's, 2 roads. So, no, Road Atlanta are at. So it'll be... Yeah, it should be a good race tonight.
So we'll get you the official starting grid for tonight's race for round 4 of the Racecraft GT3 Series, although it still says Toyo Sim F3, so I will fix that very quickly. But starting on pole here tonight, it is Adam Hughes, and then joining him on the front row is Greg Barber. They're both from CXR. Then in P3, we have got Miles Burgess. Starting alongside him from Fishy Motorsports is Adam Simpson. Then in P5, we have Stephen Brooks. Alongside him is Jake Edwards. P7 there is Doug Gowans with Jordan Ferguson, debutant here tonight, starting at a P8. So that was a good qualifying session from him. P9 going to Matthew Gerard. And then we have in P10 Daniel Fritz as well. As I might just quickly no, it fixed it. That's good. Then starting in P11 today, Mitch McIntyre. Alongside him, Jack Anderson. So pretty respectable debut qualifying from Jack there to start in P12. We then roll on down to P13, Jack Michelson. P14 goes to Keegan Caldwell. And then Jet Murray will start at P15. Stefan McCartan tonight is our race control for us and safety car driver as well. So he will be doing double duty here tonight, Ryan. And we could be in for some absolutely hot and incredible action here out at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't have his work cut out for him. We want to see nice, clean racing tonight. But Stefan's great. You know, he'll have it under control if incidents do arise. But as I've just noticed, I don't see any Mercedes on the back of the grid here. So no Jet Murray, who not quite, unless I'm mistaken. I'm not sure though. From what I was seeing, I didn't see one.
So we will get rolling and racing in just a moment. Ryan, I know you asked me the question in here. So SDK timing link, do you mean for the room? Is that what you mean?
Just like the web link? So sector, I don't know. I didn't even know, that just Shibuya sends me one.
All right, I'll see if this one will work for you.
Green flag, green flag.
See if that one works. We are going racing here at Road Atlanta here tonight. You see it was a good start there from Adam Hughes and Greg Barber. All three of the CXR cars coming into turn 1 nicely here. You see Adam Simpson in behind trying to put the pressure on them, trying to make his way back up onto the podium. And it does not appear that we have had any problems so far in terms of incidents here, Ryan. So it's been a nice, clean start over the course of the first couple of corners.
Yeah, that's what you like to see. You don't really like to see any cars around for the beginning, so it's good to see it all nice and clean through turn 1. Can be a bit tumultuous off the start, but no, great jump there from Adam Hughes. And then look to stretch his legs with him and his teammates and begin to run away.
So Jake Edwards out there as well for CXR, I believe. Yep, I believe his livery is looking like. Yep, so he's out there for CXR tonight. which is good to see. So they still have 4 drivers out there. No Callan Hodgkinson, though, tonight. But yeah, at least they have got their sort of opportunity to get a top 4 for all 4 cars here in tonight's race, Ryan. But funnily enough, Jack Michelson, he started from P13 all the way up into P10 now as Keegan Caldwell went for a massive dive, and there's been an incident involving one of the Velocity cars. I believe that might have been Jordan Ferguson. We will try and get a replay of that in just a moment, but we will head up back to the leaders there. But yeah, a very impressive start so far from Michelson to go from P13 up to P10 already.
Yeah, that's our biggest mover so far. Mitch McIntyre also up 2 spots into 9th position, but you know, I've left a front bumper as a souvenir on the outside there of turn 10 chicane, so hopefully, as we see, yeah, Jordan Ferguson's just jumped into the pits.
So that was when Keegan went off track. I was unable to see, so I was unable to see if when the dive happened. I'll see if I can see it here. We'll get the other half of the replay. So they've come down to the bottom of the hill. Oh, and he's outbraked himself and just smack into the rear of Jordan there. So that'll be one for the steward of Stefan McCartan to decide if there is any reprimands for him here tonight.
Yeah, interesting though. Keegan didn't pit, but Jordan did, so the Audi can be quite susceptible to rear damage with the gearbox being right there. It may, even contact like that can result in a meatball flag, so has jumped into the pits and is back out on track, but Keegan Caldwell didn't see him jump into the pits on the timing tower here, so should still be running around there without the front end, so he might want to jump into pits maybe sooner rather than later, get that fixed before his time loss compounds.
Mitch McIntyre has had an off track here, just on the straight there, so that's not good for him, but he will try and get back racing once again. Although Stephen Brooks has also had an incident, so we'll just quickly get that replay up as well. So they're struggling. Oh, that's Matthew Gerard actually. Oh, you can see the incident right there. Someone almost got turned by Doug Gowans. So we'll head back up with the front of the field. Keegan Caldwell has now come into the pits, Ryan, so he should drop a spot here. Although I think we are actually getting a safety car now as well from a crash involving Stephen Brooks. So we'll get a replay of that quickly. I think that might have been the crash from before. Jack Anderson has also had an incident as well. Although it might just be SDK doing SDK things. Oh no, just lost the rear end. Luckily for him though, no car damage it seems, so he should be all fine and dandy for right now, but the safety car should be on track, and it is. So I don't know why it's saying 2 Stefan McCartans on the timing tower. I will try and fix that.
He's a man of many talents, that Stefan.
Oh, he is.
He's duplicating himself. It's quite impressive. The big beneficiaries there, well, if you can call it beneficiary, Keegan Caldwell and Jordan Ferguson, you know, essentially had that incident, and then they're going to get it back for free here. So I mean, take the silver linings where you can, I guess, but, you know, good to see that their race isn't completely over.
Well, I mean, it's a long race, Ryan. I mean, we got, well, 85 minutes left of running. Already had a safety car, so there's an opportunity for them to come back here and really put the pressure on. So it will be interesting to see how well they can perform in the rest of this race. But it's really just bunched them all back up now, so we can dust ourselves off a little bit. These drivers can have a little bit of a breath, being that, well, we've had 5 minutes of racing, and now they're going to have a couple laps of behind the safety car.
Yeah, our biggest movers and shakers. Jack Michelson up 5 spots from the start, so that's a great job getting up into 8th position. Jordan Ferguson dropping, Stephen Brooks at 9. I don't know how I missed that one, so just caught up in the incident, but all these guys are going to be back on the queue, so luckily there's not going to be too much of a... Although Stephen Brooks still in the pits, a lap down now, so maybe... Yeah, just maybe out of that one then. So
This guy should have a fast repair if I'm correct. So maybe he forgot to tick his fast repair. Maybe, or maybe he unticked it, expecting to come in the pit stop and think that his car would be all right without it. But he's been in the pits now for a couple of laps, so he will go a bit further down. Same as Keegan Caldwell's still in there too. So I don't know. Maybe he's already given up at this stage. But I don't know why you would. We're only 6 minutes in.
Keegan Caldwell's coming down the pit exit now, so he will make it out in front of the pack, Lightning McQueen style. So he'll get his he'll still stay on the lead lap, catch up onto the back of the pack. I would say, if I was taking a guess, safety car as Stephen Brooks comes out now. So maybe did untick his fast repair, saving it for later. Is he on the lead lap? He is on the lead lap, I believe. No, he is.
He will be when he comes back around. So, I mean, maybe it was the time of towing that did it.
Maybe.
But it says, he had that incident. Although it might actually be a little bit smart if he didn't have that much repair time to not use up the fast repair for such an incident. You know, we're so early on in the race, still so long to go. He's guaranteed to get round to the back of the pack. So maybe it's a bit of a smart move here not to use it so early.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to use it at all, ideally, but if you can keep it in hand and get your damage repaired, then that's always the good thing to do. You never know what's going to happen. Anything can happen over a 90-minute span. SDK going to SDK, though. It did say, I'm not sure why it told me it was a lap down, and then I looked back and it was 2 minutes down, so which is interesting, considering it's a 1 minute 17 lap time. So
it's an SDK problem, my friend. It happens all the time. I constantly get the thing of saying someone's crashed, but it's not them. It's just them slowing down on track. And it's one of the weirdest things to come out of SDK. But I believe, is the safety car pulling away already, or are the guys just slowing up a little bit?
Absolutely, safety car is checked out. So
I just realized as well I didn't have the safety car graphic up for Promo Department. So big shout out to Promo Department though for bringing us that safety car period. I will be sure to get it up on screen if we do get another one throughout this race.
Keegan Caldwell should definitely get on the back here. Quite a long straight. Yeah, no. Stephen Brooks should also get on the back here.
And of course, Adam can't go green until the safety car is back in the pits. So depending on when he actually decides to go green, Stephen might actually get onto the back of the field though.
Yeah, it's just coming around turn 7 now, so
Keegan has not used that fast repair. He still has his front end missing on that Ferrari, so that's an interesting strategy from him to not take the fast repair when he has got one. Although it looks like it has a front bumper on it, but it doesn't. Oh, it's all black, so I don't know. Maybe it's a bit of an iRacing glitch there. But we now await them to go racing once again. Everyone is now back up on the back of the field. The safety car is in. It's up to Adam Hughes when he gets the green flag on when he will go racing. He has got his teammates in behind him, so he can tell them in their Discord when he's going to go so they can gap Adam Simpson in behind and also give Jake Edwards a bit of a upper hand over Adam just ahead of him as well. As Hughes goes here on the exit of the final corner of the circuit, we can be on here for a monumental continuation of this race here, Ryan, as they all start to attack each other once again.
Yeah, it looks like Adam Simpson there got a pretty good jump. Just saw him pull out of the tow immediately early, but just backed off through turn 1. I don't think it was worth fighting immediately out of the gate here, but all around turn 1 it looks like all good so far. I don't see any cars on the mini-map slowing down whatsoever. Bit of a tough one on cold tyres. You don't really want to be running too wide off the restart there. There's a long race to go, but got to keep the risk marginally low until your tyres come up to the window. But another great jump there from Adam Hughes and the CXR boys off and running.
Once again as well, if you are watching tonight and you want to get involved in the stream, please get into the chat, whether it's on Facebook or on YouTube. We'd love to have a chat to you, love to answer any questions you might have, no matter how silly they are. Of course, the age-old question that I'm always asked is, do you like having pineapple on pizza? But the driver that normally asks me is actually racing tonight, so unless it's someone else who decides to ask me, then I don't think I'll be seeing that question pop up in the chat. But again, if you just want to have a chat to us, talk about some of your favourite drivers, ask us any questions. If you want us to focus on somebody, then please let us know, and we will try and answer any questions or any comments you have. So we come on now, lap 7, Ryan, 11 minutes in, still 80 minutes to go in this race. Of course, we will have a pit stop period in between. Sorry for the blink there, but still a long way to go here as the CXR boys are looking ultra dominant.
Yeah, as we're just getting word from race control now, car 1 drive-through, so that's Keegan Caldwell, drive-through penalty for a crash with car 21, Jordan Ferguson, so he'll be looking to serve that within the next 3 laps. Black flag being issued, you have 3 laps to serve your drive-through penalty, so...
Doug Gowans has come round.
Awkward spot. That's a very awkward spot to have it around, cresting the corner. It's hard for cars who come in over the crest there to see Doug around, so pretty lucky not to have anyone run into him there.
So we'll head back up the front now. We'll see if we can get a replay of the spin from Doug Gowans, as we have got some footage of it here, so we'll see what happened to him. It's coming up through the S's. As it happened on the exit of the squad, although it's blinked out, it has. He's run that curb. Oh. Could have maybe done better to hold brakes a little bit, but no one really got hurt from that, so that's good to see. Of course, we don't want to see someone's race wrecked by another incident happening, so he was very lucky.
Yeah, good avoidance by a few of the drivers there, taken to the grass and able to keep it out of the wall, so good to see everybody still running. Adam Hughes, the fastest lap of an 18:10, so just only, even with the fuel tank, only about 3/10 of the time of his quali lap, so that's a pretty great lap for this early in the race.
So we might just check out, Mitch McIntyre's had a moment. We will get just a replay up of that as well, because we weren't focusing on him. So what's happened to him here? He's running that special Porsche Le Mans livery on the 911 in 9. Oh, that's a big contact. Have to see if he comes into the pits off the back of that one.
Yeah, you just saw him run a bit wide there on the outside of turn 5, came off the curb and the car completely compressed on the outside on that service road, coming off the curb, completely bottomed out, and looks like it aero stalled into the wall there, so Porsche gonna push, as they say.
So the closest battle on track, and I say battle because these front two, they're not really battling, they're working together to try and stretch the field a little bit since they are teammates. Closest battle on track at the moment, Matthew Girard and Jack Michelson. The gap is now down to 0.2 of a second. As we see Michelson having a peek here for a move up the hill. Can he get it done into the hairpin after this long and winding section here, Ryan?
Yeah, turn 2 definitely would have been one of the more interesting spots to see move. Generally single file through there. It's going to be very hard to get a move done inside or out through there as you crest the hill. Really not a lot of grip on either side of the racing line, so just deciding better of it.
There's been an incident a little bit further back. We'll just quickly get up a replay and then we'll come back to the battle. It's Jack Anderson. What's happened to him here in the Velocity Racing Audi R8 LMS car. Oh, he's just caught the curb, same as Doug Gowans. Very lucky though not to hit the wall.
Yeah, a few of these cars looking pretty rigid through turn 5. When I set my cars up for this track, I like them nice and generally quite soft, especially if you're using some of these curbs. So yeah, some of these cars when they're running through turn 5, that's the main spot. You can see when they hit the curb just how much of an impact it is on those right-hand side tyres as they hit the outside there. So really just been upsettling, as it seems mainly just the mid and rear engine cars.
So I'll just give you a quick run throughout the field. Jet Murray apparently is in the session. He's on my screen saying that he's been on track, but he's not at the moment. So, but currently back in the field, Mitch McIntyre after having a little bit of a moment in his Porsche. Then Jack Anderson, who's in P13, has just come into the pits off his spin, so might just be getting some fresh tyres here maybe. Keegan Caldwell back out on track in P12 at the moment. And then Doug Gowans, after his little spin, is now in P11. Although Keegan's just had a moment again, apparently. Yep, we just missed the catching of it. So out in the weeds once again there, Ryan. Jordan Ferguson in P10. So he's had quite a nice debut so far. Let's see how much or if he can get any further up back through the field. He's down 2 spots from where he started this race. Stephen Brooks just ahead of him on debut as well, down 4 spots here in P9. Daniel Fritz up into P8 at the moment for Whiskey Runners Racing. He's up 2 spots. Jack Michelson, we mentioned him earlier, the biggest mover of this race so far. He's up 6 spots in this race, up into the top 7 at the moment, and trying to chase down Matthew Gerard in P6 at the current running. Jake Edwards in P5 for CXR. Here he's up 1 spot from where he started. Miles Burgess has lost that position now to Adam Simpson, so it's no longer a CXR top 3 in this race. Simpson up to P3 now, so he's gotten the move done. Greg Barber, of course, and Adam Hughes still leading this race out, Ryan.
Yeah, a bit of a CXR show tonight. Yeah, there's especially Adam Hughes here really starting to push the gap even to his teammate Greg Barber, so these guys are really going to be wanting to, you know, stretch the gap and get as far ahead as they can, because Road Atlanta is one of those tracks. The walls are quite close compared to some of the other circuits, as we've seen. So we've already seen 1 safety car tonight. I would be highly surprised if that's the last one we see as well. So try to get as much gap as they can, hopefully before the pit stop window, and they can get it in.
I have just been told that my overlays are apparently trimmed on a TV again. I can't. I could adjust them just quickly. It'll take me only a momentary second here. It's going to look slightly weird for a moment, but we've just fixed it, so that should be all right now. So, but now I've just gotten rid of it. It's all going hairs up now, but yeah, it's over the last couple of weeks, Ryan, it has really just been the CXR show. As it's gone away once again.
That's it. Nobody gets overlays.
SDK, fix your stuff, please. Stop being so rude. Let me see if that fixed it just quickly. No, it didn't. Of course it didn't.
SDK, you're gonna SDK.
It is. It is. I remember it. Well, it made our Long Beach race for Simsa a couple of weeks ago just undoable because we didn't have the live timing or anything like that. But hopefully, me closing it and reopening it should actually fix it. I have only got 1 instance of it open, so let's just double check if that's done it for us. I'm not seeing the not found, so I think it's actually trying to waken up. So whilst we await the timing tower to come back up, ladies and gentlemen, we will just quickly let you know of how the current timing is looking at the moment. So Adam Hughes, Greg Barber, currently out to from the back of Greg Barber, it's roughly a 3-second lead back to Adam Simpson in P3. Miles Burgess currently in P4, about another second in behind him. Then it's a bit of a gap, another 5 seconds back to Matthew Gerard in P5, Jake Edwards P6, Jack Michelson P7, P8 Daniel Fritz, P9 Jordan Ferguson, P10 Stephen Brooks, P11 Doug Gowans, P12 Keegan Caldwell, P13 Mitch McIntyre, then Jack Anderson is a lap down in P14 at the moment. Of course, we will try and work hard to get the overlays back up on screen for you, so then we have everything we need to go racing here tonight and give you as much info as we can.
Yeah, look, I was just about to mention a battle for P4 coming up, but it looks like Jake Edwards has just gone around there, drops all the way down to 8th, and another couple of off-track from the UK back-to-back here, so was about Jack Michelson now 2 seconds off the back of Matthew Gerard. Yeah, there it is, and around he goes, so gee, that's an interesting spot to lose it. Maybe just, I'm not even really sure what happened there.
Neither am I. I'm hoping we can get this sorted so we have everything fixed and ready to go. But at least we have got the racing on screen, so we at least have the action on screen, which is good. So we will try and get everything sorted out here and looking as spick and span as it should.
Closest battle on track now, Miles Burgess in P4, chasing down P3 Adam Simpson, only a second off the back now. So as Keegan Caldwell drops down a position as well, maybe another incident. Seems to be dropping a little bit of delta, just maybe also just struggling with that Ferrari. I believe that's the front bumper we were missing. But he's saying that, yeah, Miles Burgess, yeah, just hovering right around that 1 second gap, it seems, to the back of Adam Simpson, so might see a battle for P3 incoming.
Well, hopefully we can, because it'll give us a nice and tasty little battle here. I guess the beauty of us having more drivers on track means we can have more battles, Ryan. Another one of those close battles is currently the battle for P8. See there, it's Ferguson, Edwards, and then Gowans is a couple of seconds in behind. So all these guys currently in the fight for P8 in this race at the moment. And then Daniel Fritz just a little bit up the road in behind Jack Michelson there as well on the BMW. So Michelson up 7 spots now. So he's on a charge at the moment to try and get to the front of the field, and he's done well so far.
Yeah, as we saw, it turned up fashionably late in the qualifying session, and is already up 7 spots on the start of the race. So he's really done a great job to remedy his late appearance, and I'm sure what he would believe is a somewhat lackluster qualifying session. I'm sure if he had the full half an hour, he would have given us something, quite a bit better than 12th position on the grid. So it's great start to the race. Only about, hard to say without the timing tower, but about 20 minutes in, I would say.
Yeah, it's about 20 minutes in.
20 minutes into this run.
I'm trying to get this fixed as fast as possible, but it does not want to work for me right now, and it's really annoying. But these are some of the challenges that we are faced with SDK. Sometimes we might just, that's a big spin from Michelson though.
Commentator's curse, it may seem here.
As he gets going again, I don't think anyone is going to hit him. No, he's got quite a bit of a gap there back to his teammate. So we'll go back up with the leaders as they are already lapping the field at the moment now, Ryan.
Yeah, these guys have been on a different level since the start of the race, just constantly banging out 1 minute 18 mids roundabout. Adam Hughes has just been stretching the gap on his teammate. Wasn't really too interested, it seems, in towing along Greg. It just really checked out lap after lap. Greg Barber last lap of a 1:20.3, so maybe had a little bit of a slide, bit of an incident. It seems 2 seconds off the pace there, so gap cams come down to Adam Simpson now, only 2 seconds back to P3's. I'm not sure what happened. I didn't see an off track or anything pop up, so would have just had a little bit of an incident. If I would guess, round turn 7 here is probably the best spot you can do it.
So Adam Hughes still leading this race. He has actually gapped his teammate a fair bit now. He's out to 4 as we finally have the timing tower back. Thank you, SDK. Oh, thank you. Take away my heart attack that was about to happen from that. Oh, thank you so much. So the gap now, as we can see, is now out to 4.65 seconds between the top 2 of this race. Adam Simpson's gap up to Greg Barber is now out to 2.2 seconds. So he has a little bit of pace to find to catch that P2 BMW CXR car in Greg Barber. But we know that Adam has pace. He's proved it over the last couple of weeks, and he's just yet to really put the pressure on these CXR boys here, Ryan.
Yeah, it's just Greg's, the interval down to 5 seconds now. So either Adam's starting to really stretch his legs and start to run away, or Greg maybe just dropping off the pace a little bit. A 19.1 last lap for Greg. So maybe, I believe he had a half spin earlier, maybe just lit up the tyres a bit. These BMWs, especially the rears, can become quite a bit of a handful with just how much torque they have in the low revs. Really easy to wheel spin these things, and once you do that, really start to struggle on power, especially, as I said, through turn 7 is the main spot here. We can see quite a bit of time loss, get this corner wrong and get a massive straight, but it's just going to compound.
So we are kind of just getting through the meat and potatoes of this meal that is this race at the moment, Ryan. We're kind of the drivers and us as broadcasters, and of course the viewers at home, will be waiting for is the pit stop period, seeing how the strategies are going to come into play, when these guys are going to pit, whether it's going to be slightly earlier than when they need to and force the 2 or 3 stop, or whether they can push enough to try and get into the 1 stop range. So it's going to be interesting to see how these strategies play out. We've seen strategies work really, really well over the last couple of weeks, and I know Road Atlanta is one that can lend itself well to an undercut, so it's going to be quite an enticing possibility that we have on our hands here tonight, Ryan.
Yeah, your tyres really do go through the tumbler here, so an undercut absolutely could work here tonight, especially if you get lucky with a or opportune for you, but unopportune safety car for others, hitting it early and getting that stop done.
Well, I mean,
So-
it's even though we mentioned how long the circuit is, 4Ks, but it's the length of the lap time. It's under 1:30. That's normally the cutoff for an undercut range. Although depending on how short a pit lane travel time is, the pit lane is actually quite short here at Road Atlanta compared to other tracks we've been to. It's definitely shorter than Magny-Cours last time out, but we did see the undercut come into effect last time. So I think we're almost guaranteed to see one here today.
Not only is the pit lane quite short, but the pit lane is also 72 kilometers an hour. So one of the fast ones in iRacing as well, 45 miles an hour. So not only is it short, but you are hoofing it down there in terms of pit lane speed. So really one of the shorter transit times on the calendar.
The field has now spread out just slightly throughout, so we are awaiting to get to the pit stop period, although the closest battle on track is this one. This is the battle for P8. CXR's Jake Edwards with Velocity Racing's Jordan Ferguson. So both of these guys in the Audi R8 LMS, and they will be fighting for Audi pride right now. There's only one in the top 5, that being Miles Burgess. The rest of the tops, out of the next 7 cars, is all 6 BMWs, Ryan.
Yeah, BMW just looks to be the absolute flavor of the month here for this track. So it's, as I said, with these, I find it with the downhill sections in the front engine cars, it really, and you can get the weight over those front wheels, it really lends itself well. It's akin to Bathurst in that sense, over the top of the mountain heading down through the Differ and the S's. Ooh, as we see Jake Edwards just jump over the curb, all sorts of bouncy through there. Looking like a jumping castle, but he's done a very good job to hold on to that. I thought for sure that was coming around then. Those mid-engine cars really seem to be struggling there with the exit curb at turn 5, just all sorts of unsettled running over that curb.
I mean, you mentioned jumping castles. I'm sure famous Australian comedian Chris Lilly would hate to hear about jumping castles once again. Anyone who's seen Weekend Heroes knows that reference. But as well, I mean, one of the most interesting things, the top 10, there's only one car that's not an Audi or a BMW, and guess what it is? The fire-breathing dragon of Doug Gowans in that McLaren. He is doing bits right now to keep that car in contention for a top 10 finish.
That front, the front intake of that car makes me slightly uneasy. It just looks so strange, the front end of this 650. Still waiting for the new 720. Well, we've gone through 2 iterations of the 720 now before we get the new one. So the fire-breathing dragon 650. It's surprised how it gets any air into that through the
Jake Edwards
front
has had a
intake there.
moment there. Sorry to interrupt you, but we'll just
that's fine.
see if we can get a replay of that one. So he's come through T1, and he's run wide, caught the weeds, and yeah, he's done a full-on lawnmower man there. I didn't know Audi's made lawnmowers, but must be a brand new release coming out in 2024 maybe. He's done well though to trim the weeds on the side of the track there.
Yeah, excellent job to keep it out of the wall. That's one of the hardest ones to keep it out there. As we were saying, just run 2 wheels wide onto the exit of turn 1, and it really just pulls the car. There's not a lot you can do to keep it out of there, especially because this track sweeps back to the right. It almost comes away from the car. It really gifts you the concrete there.
So
But he's done an excellent job.
Oh, he has. It now promotes Doug Gowans into P9 as well. So currently, the running order of the 10 is Adam Hughes, then to Greg Barber. Then we go back to Adam Simpson just in behind. Then it's Miles Burgess following closely as well. Given the lapped cars a cheeky flash there, letting him know that he wants to get past. He wants to chase down Adam Simpson as fast as he can. Matthew Gerard there in behind as well in his BMW, with Daniel Fritz trying to chase him down the back straight. And then we have Jack Michelson making his way around the first sector of this track. His teammate Jordan Ferguson just in behind in his Audi R8. And then Doug Gowans, mentioned him before, the fire-breathing dragon McLaren in P9. And then Jake Edwards makes up the top 10. Mitch McIntyre is the only other car on the lead lap at the moment in P11 in his Porsche 911. Although he is about to get lapped. Or, sorry, it says he's on the lead lap. He's on the same lap as the cars just ahead of him, but he's not on the lead lap as the top 4. So he's still on the same lap as Jake Edwards in P10.
Early pit stop here for Stephen Brooks, unless he has a bit of damage, but into the pits already, as we got an hour left in this race, so that'll be another stop for him. Shouldn't get over an hour on the tank, I wouldn't say, unless he saves a bit of fuel. There is possible to maybe get it done, but that's a long time on these tyres at this track as well.
He'd have to rely on another safety car to come into play, although of course you can get an hour out of tyres in a GT3 car, but you are right. You get closer and closer towards that hour mark, and those tyres are screaming for you to get a new set of boots on the car.
Yeah, maybe you might even need to do a bit of tyre savings just to keep the lap time up around here. One of the more tough, as we're saying, tough tracks on the tyres. Nothing like our Sebring's and our, well, Sebring's particularly bad, but Daytona's very easy on them. You can easily get an hour out of these with a new tyre model, being able to take the tyres as the same time as you take the fuel, so changing them every stop is the go-to.
So Keegan Caldwell has finally used his fast repair, but he's done a big Mr. Drifter there around turn 5. Done well, though, to keep it off the wall. So just a bit of a reset for him there. Just kind of a stop and stand still moment for him on the tarmac.
Oh, I lost it, eh? I love that. That's such a great clip. I'm glad you referenced that.
Oh, I love giving all those cheeky little references. The other night, Wednesday night, I don't know if anyone caught it who was watching, I gave a little cheeky F1 game reference to Nice and Easy into Sandoval, please, for Long Beach. So, but yeah, love getting those little memes out there for the people who get them. And it's good. It's good when people understand the references too. So I can appreciate that as well. So Hughesy is he's leading the field at the moment. I have to wonder if he's got his Samboy chips in there. That's another little meme reference for you, Ryan, if you know what that one is.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, I'll have to link your video of Dave Hughes eating Samboy chips in the future then. So Adam Hughes leads his teammate Greg Barber in P2 by 8 seconds at the moment. So Adam is proving why he has been the talk of the series. His internet seems to have sort of held itself together tonight. He's lasted longer than half an hour in a session. So he could be on here for quite an impressive win tonight if he can keep that car straight and narrow on the tarmac here out at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, it seems the only man that can beat him tonight is Telstra, so
He
quite easy.
He might be with Optus, you don't know.
Who knows? Maybe the NBN, you know.
It's probably with Vodafone.
We'll just call it the NBN. I'm with Vodafone. No Vodafone slander tonight, thank you.
10 years ago, Vodafone were terrible.
They were terrible, but I've stuck it out with them, and I get some pretty good packages.
I'd
like to say.
It's because they use
loyalty.
It's because they use Telstra towers. That's why. So
yeah, just cheaper.
So we get closer and closer. We might follow Adam Hughes on a lap when he comes back round, thanks to our Warren and Brown cockpit cam. Of course, I've started introducing it more and more into my broadcast ever since Supercars decided they were going to have a cockpit cam. So now I like to use it in my broadcast. So used to be the roll bar cam, which is still my favourite camera in a car. We might just quickly go onto it here. Although it's not as nice in the BMW. You can't see the driver.
Yeah, no, you get just a whole load of satin dashboard here, so
Yeah.
not a whole lot to see in the BMW, and you get the number plate right in the way, which will be interesting through Sector 1. But as we get a bit of helmet cam.
So Warren and Brown cockpit cam here, I guess as well. Whilst he's doing his lap, we might just bring up the Warren and Brown promo video in the bottom corner, since I like to give them a shout out every time we go into cockpit cam. I like to think of different ways to get sponsors involved in different camera angles, and they were the lucky ones to get picked, I suppose, for the cockpit cam. So he's running quite a nice lap here. Third gear through the left-hander there. We'll see here if he runs third through the right. What gear would you normally run here, Ryan?
It really does depend on the car. I think it is mostly a third gear corner, depending, maybe fourth in something like the Audi, or even the front engine cars. I generally use a lower gear just to try to get the nose in a bit better. Just, try to get a bit more rotation. Maybe the Merc I would run fourth in. Runs a bit more. Doesn't into third. It just engine brakes a bit too much into the Mercedes. It's nice to keep it in nice high gear. See a lot of people driving, as we see Adam Hughes jump into the pits now. 35 minutes remaining, so this will be, if all goes well, his only stop. I would be highly doubtful to see him in again unless another incident.
Yeah, I think as Greg Barber also comes into the pits, although it's not... there he is. As well as Simpson and Burgess, so I have to wonder, all these guys possibly going for a one-stop here tonight if the fuel allows it. So I guess they're going for the safe side here, a 55-minute stint, or maybe roughly actually a 53-minute stint on tyres. So the tyres will not be screaming as much when it comes to the end of the race, but you can see them now, the top 6 cars, as well as 10th place Mitch McIntyre, Jake Edwards, Stephen Brooks, all in the pits right now. So the only person on track is Jordan Ferguson. I'm not sure where he is just yet. Oh, he's coming to pits as well.
Very busy pit lane right now, everybody in, so I would imagine the fuel restriction only allows them to get to the 35 minutes, so we should see another stop in this race then.
So it should be a 2-stop affair here tonight. I think they were talking about, I was talking to some of the drivers in practice, I think they had a 75% fuel. Oh, we're on a safety car, that's why.
That's why.
Well then, that adds some spice. So, I see that Keegan Caldwell jumped to pits. So I'll see if I can actually find his incident that led to that. I think I've just gotten it here, so we'll quickly just bring it up. See what he's done in the Fez. He's gone off in the grass and then into the wall. Might just stick with him here because apparently, I mean, I don't know why there would be reason to tow, so he must have gone off the track again. Oh, yeah, he's just lit it up. But again, though, I mean, it doesn't look bad enough to need a tow. Yeah, it's almost like he's scrubbing the tyres too much.
Yeah, it does look like was he crabbing a bit there, just maybe. Just didn't know if he could get it back to the pits, didn't want to be,
I have found the crash. So this might have been what actually led to crabbing. So down towards turn, is it? No, it's the, oh yeah, that's when he had his big spin. So his tyres just must have been cooked after the spin there. Maybe he thought, oh, I can't make it round on these cooked tyres, better just to tow it back and reset in the pit stop.
May have just busted the steering rack there as he hit the side on with the wall, but yeah, I don't know. He might have been able to get it back, but the only thing I'm thinking is he didn't want to risk the other driver's race trying to wheel his car back. We've seen him use his quick repair already, getting that front bumper back on, so it was more of a, you know, I'm going to be out of this race anyway, might as well pull it over and not, you know, lose control of my car and take somebody else out and ruin their race.
So this now puts the race in an interesting position in terms of narrative now, Ryan. The field, so Adam Hughes had an 8-second gap back to Greg Barber. Greg then had around about a 3-second gap back to Adam Simpson. With this safety car, it's bunched everyone up. So it now means that Adam Simpson, although the rest of the field trying to catch up to the back of these guys, it now puts Adam Simpson back in contention for challenging these front 2 drivers and really slowing down their ascent towards a massive gap and victory today. So what do you think Adam's going to need to try and do here? I mean, obviously he has to try and get the restart perfected, but, you know, where can he get a move done?
Well, no pun intended, but he's going to be fighting an uphill battle going through 2 CXR cars. You know, Greg Barber's not going to almost bounce it to the Adam Hughes club, so he's really got to get through both of them if he wants to challenge for the lead. Adam Hughes, we've seen his last few jumps have been pretty spot on, so Greg Barber maybe going to be just protecting a little bit there, so it's not the easiest track to get a lap done. The best spot is down at turn 10 chicane, so you got the whole lap before you even get a chance really off this, unless you get an absolutely sublime jump to get the move done. So Adam Hughes will be looking to push the tail off the car right from the jump just to get a bit of gap, because we know Adam Simpson's absolutely going to be wanting to get through as quick as he can.
I have to ask you this, Ryan, just before I put out this next little reference. Are you a Melbourne boy?
I am a Melbourne boy.
Okay, it's good. You'll understand this reference. And so you mentioned the Adam Hughes club and Greg Barber is the other bouncer. I guess he's going to need a couple of revs then to try and stay ahead of Adam Simpson here.
Yeah, he's going to be
Did you
Bit
get
of
that
a-
reference?
Yeah, I did. I was
you
trying
on-
to come back. I was trying to come up with the flamingo comeback, but I couldn't.
Are you on
couldn't
cloud
get anything
nine
off the
from it?
dome. Yeah, a bit of a gonna be going for P1. If you know what I'm saying.
You'll be on cloud nine for sure if you can
Yeah,
keep that
cloud-
lead of this race.
You'll be cloud 9 if you can raise the revs and get through to P1.
He has
triple whammy.
he has the central
it.
position right now to get it done. There's a nice reference for people from the southeastern suburbs as well. So, it's been such a long time since I've been out clubbing. I feel like an old man at this stage in my life now. I'm not even.
I do not have the well, I do have the time, but being I'm a breakfast chef myself, so getting up early. I've tried going out before work, and I'm just well off my game when I rock up there. So it's not even worth it. I'm just miserable when I get there. So
I'm like, I could go out if I wanted to, but the one person I used to always go out with decided to move to the other side of Australia. So now it's like, well, I don't want to go out on my own.
yeah, well, they clearly didn't want to go out either because there's nothing to do in Perth.
Oh, they find a lot of things to do out there. Although we are going to Queensland together next week, so obviously he needs some sort of entertainment. But I mean, he has fun out there regardless. But he wanted an adventure, and that's the adventure that he decided to take. So also to give a bit of an update as well, ladies and gentlemen, this weekend, if you are in the Melbourne area, of course we have MotorX coming up this weekend, and SRW will have a booth open. So I will be there tomorrow alongside, I know Steve is going there as well. So if you want to come and say hello to us, if you're at MotorX as well, then please come and say hi. We will have a rig set up, so I believe we'll be doing a bit of a Top Gear Fastest Lap Challenge possibly as well. So it'd be good to get in and chat to some of the followers of the series, maybe even some of the drivers that might go tomorrow or Sunday too. So if you are there, please come and find us. We will be inside, so if it is raining, you will not get wet while you're coming to visit our booth, which will be nice. So, yeah, hopefully we can see some people there as well. Are you going, Ryan?
I am not. I will be at work.
Okay, fair enough then. This, I'll be honest, this is my job, but since it is voluntary tomorrow, I wanted to give back to SRW. They gave me an opportunity, so I wanted to give back in some way that I can.
It's going to be an absolutely blistering hot day tomorrow of 11 degrees.
So who will be there tomorrow? Just to build it up a little bit. So tomorrow, MotorX, as the safety car is now pulling away, so we'll quickly give the little plug to MotorX while safety car pulls away. Tomorrow at MotorX, you can find in the performance tent right in front of the bar. So come get a cheeky drink and come and say hi to us. You will be able to see me, myself, Dean, Steve, Mr. Dyke. Will have 2 sim rigs set up with full Camus pedals, and you'll be able to put in a nice cheeky lap, try and get on the timing board. We'll have some promotional stuff running as well. I'm not sure if Steve's going to let me do this or not, but I'm hoping I can try and get people to want to try and commentate a race with me maybe. I don't know. Depends how they feel tomorrow. But yeah, if you guys are out at MotorX, come and say g'day to us in the performance tent right out the front of the bar. So you can go get yourself cheeky mixer or a beer and come and chat to us and learn more about SRW TV in the process. So Ryan, the narrative has been set. We're up to the second chapter of this race. 45 minutes into it. We are a third of the way through roughly. And it will be Adam Hughes' to control. We've bunched the field right up. We're ready to go racing once again. All we await is the green flag. And how will these CXR boys play it off the restart? Oh, that looked... Oh, that was a bit touch and go there from Miles. He jumped very early on Adam Simpson, but decided to back out of it. Although Adam Simpson has gotten Greg Barber Adam Hughes on the inside. What has happened to Adam Hughes here? He's really just bottled that restart, Ryan.
I think he went a little bit before Greg Barber. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened then. Was he in the wrong gear? The jump was his, so really not sure what happened. Looks like he completely bogged down, which is interesting to do on a rolling start. So all the way down into 4th position. Both of his CXR teammates running around as he runs wide on the outside of turn 5 as well. It's gone from bad to worse from Adam Hughes now dropping down. It's gonna be Michelson, Ferguson, Too many J's out on track.
He's now
Just
dropped
ready.
in the course of 6 corners down to P7 already, Ryan.
Yeah, that's about as disastrous of a start as you can get there. Just, I'm really not sure what happened there. He must have just been in the wrong gear. It's the only thing I can come up with as to why he was so slow off the start, but we've seen how much pace he has in hand, so as we see Michelson make a nice move on the inside, and Hughes is going to follow him through as Fritz was just off the racing line there, so nice and easy to pick one up, but we've seen how much pace Hughes has in hand, so
I have to
he's
wonder,
definitely...
was he in maybe 3rd gear? Or maybe the other guys were in 1st?
He must out. It's the only reason I can think of for P1 to drop like that off the start. The only thing we're going to be worried about is, was there any overtakes made before the timing line? But the timing line, fortunately, on Road to Atlanta is very early down the straight, so I would be surprised if anybody did make a pass before that. They did jump pretty much at the line, so, but in saying that, Hughesy did, well, not exactly jump, so
So
the
we'll
race
see.
is his.
It is. Mitch McIntyre's had a moment. I might just find back at the moment there off the restart. Look at McIntyre. They're hard into the concrete barrier.
Ooh.
Luckily for him, though, it's not a front engine car, so that will not mean a tow, but the steering could be damaged on that Porsche as he hits it again. But let's just
Yeah.
check the replay of the restart. So with Barber. Was Barber in... Barber was in P1. So Barber's gone. Hughes hasn't actually called the restart properly in behind Barber. So Barber must have jumped him in the pits and has then taken the lead like behind the safety car already.
Are we able to see that one from cockpit cam for Hughesy? Just wanted to see if it was in the right gear. Like, we'll see. It'll give us a good indication of where the timing line is as well.
Oh, no, he's in
Second
P1.
gear's fine. Oh, that's close to the timing line. You see the timing line right there. I think Greg Bubba may have been in front, though, before the line. Maybe Hughesy just thought the timing line was further down the straight. Of course, the start-finish line, not the same as the main line for this track. So, start-finish line about 2/3 down the straight. But yeah, the lap timer just on the exit of turn 12. 12 it is, because 11 is like a half corner. So yeah, turn 12 there. So
Adam Hughes has now gotten back past Jack Michelson. I was actually going to say before the move got done, Michelson will not make it easy for Hughes. But I think Hughes has actually just forced the issue maybe. Might just quickly get a replay of the move since we missed it on the live broadcast. It was down the straight thanks to Toe in the braking zone. Gave him plenty of room, so there was some racing respect there.
yeah,
But-
nice and confident on the brakes. Got it absolutely pulled up fine for the turn of 10B. So just jumped in front, a little bit deeper than he probably would have liked through the first left-hander, but kept it on the track and then parked on the apex for the exit of the chicane. So it was all said and done after that.
We'll go on board now. Warren and Brown cockpit cam here with Adam Simpson for Fishy Motorsports, trying to chase down Greg Barber for P1. And Adam has had quite an impressive race so far, going from P4 now up into P2 off the second restart. He's had quite an impressive outing so far, Ryan.
Yeah, he has. That's a lot of steering, like I was just noticing through turns 2 and 6 then. I mean, that's of course how he could have his wheel set up with his wheel rotation, but yeah, that's just something that stuck out to me immediately. That's an excellent run here. He's going to look down to the inside, late on the brakes. Greg looks to be a little bit later. Just nice deep defending there, but braking, but he did compromise the exit. Adam Simpson's going to have the run down the inside through turn 11 and through turn 12. He's going to take the lead, but it's not over yet. Greg Barber's nice in the toe, heading down into turn 1. Don't think he's going to be anywhere close enough to force an issue here, so great move there from Adam Simpson. Just Greg Barber ran a bit deep through the chicane, trying to defend his position, but compromised the exit through the exit there, and then down through turn 11 and 12. Adam Simpson was able to get it done, but this won't be over yet. Greg has had a bit of pace in hand, and will definitely look to get him back, maybe same spot.
So the action is still fast and furious here. We're 50 minutes into this race. We've got 40 minutes of racing to go here around Road Atlanta. And if you're wondering why Jack Anderson might have actually dropped down the order a little bit, he's actually gone off track previously. So we'll quickly check that and we'll head back into the action because Greg Barber might be trying to get a move down the bottom of the hill and he's just caught the sand once again. It just touches the tyre barrier. So unfortunate for him, but we'll go back to the battle for the lead. Can Greg get it done here at the bottom of the hill, Ryan? He doesn't appear to be close enough though.
Yeah, nowhere near close enough this time round, but we're still not over yet. This is going to be all flat all the way down through to turn 1 here, so maybe just a little bit of lift off through 12, but if you got your setup card nice and dialed in, it shouldn't be any sort of a lift, but even now just 4/10 off the back is not going to be close enough for anything to turn 1, but really getting a bit of a train starting to build up here. 4/10, 5/10, 5/10, and 5/10 is the gap between all of these cars, all the way down into turn P5, so good battle for all the podium spots and more.
This is, Adam Simpson's kind of in the hot seat right now. If he can defend hard enough on Barber, force Barber to really push his tyres to its limit, and if Simpson can kind of mitigate his tyre wear, he could be in for quite an impressive last into the end of this race, because it's going to mean he's going to have fresher tyre life in those tyres on the BMW. Barber's going to have to push hard to get the move done. I mean, of course, he could wait and force Adam to kind of defend super hard and really, run out of tyres before him. But I think Adam currently has got the benefit, I guess you could say, or like he's in a better position at the moment. No pun intended, being that he's in P1, but he's in a better position in terms of being able to mitigate the tyre wear than what Barber is at the moment.
Yeah, Greg, you're going to pick up a lot more wear. That's again a high deg track sitting behind, plus you're going to get a bit of excess heat running off the back of the car. You're pushing hard trying to get past as well. Another thing to keep in mind is when these guys pit, they pit with about 50 minutes remaining, so a full stint on these tyres, they're going to be begging for help at the end of the stint, so the more you can save now, the better. It's going to, the difference is going to be paramount come near the end.
I guess the beauty of it was they were at least behind safety car for a few laps, so it meant that they could, although they had to try and keep the tyres warm because they were fresh on the car, but they at least weren't wearing them out early. So the stint has been pushed back by a couple of laps now since coming off the safety car. But it is going to be interesting to see if these drivers have to go for another pit stop or if they can go all the way to the end now, thanks to their fuel life in these cars being, if they have got 100% fill. So the top 5 separated by only 2.6 seconds at the moment. It's nice and close compared to what it was earlier between the top 2 being, it was 8 seconds between Adam Hughes and Greg Barber, Ryan.
Yeah, it's the safety cars really spice things up. It looks like Adam Hughes has made his way past Matthew Gerard there, so looking to get some of do a bit of damage mitigation, damage control. That's the one I'm looking for, damage control after the restart there. Be interesting to see whether his teammate Greg Barber does pick up any sort of penalty due to passing before the timing line. It was very marginal, so I doubt Adam would have called it in on his own teammate, but maybe something the race control looks at anyway.
That is, of course, depending on what the rules are, whether race control only look at incidents that are reported or if they also look at incidents that aren't reported, is something to be seen, and time will tell whether a penalty will be handed out. Of course, whether if it actually was a penalty-worthy moment that happened, but it's just looking back through the field just quickly now. So Keegan Caldwell, Jake Edwards, and Stephen Brooks are all over 10 laps down on the leaders at the moment, so they have been in the wars today, Ryan. But funnily enough, 2 Audis out of the 5 are outside the top 10 right now, and those same 2 cars are 12 laps down on the leaders.
Yeah, Keegan Caldwell now just jumped into the pits, so not sure. Maybe just going to park it up for the rest of the day. Unsure whether he's going to come back out again. But yeah, it's just so essentially looking at 3 retirements, it would seem then. No, he has come out of pits, so he is back out on track. Maybe just going to hit the minimum lap limit to still bag a bit of points.
So So, I mean, I guess no matter what you can say about Keegan's consistency, because he has actually had quite a bit of bad luck across the whole season, he at least gets back out there and continues to have a crack. So it is entirely commendable to him to get back out, try and improve his racecraft week in and week out, and just try and finish the race. You know, you get so many people who get through a portion of the race and decide, no, that's enough for me, and then they don't come back and race. But he comes in, week out, and just continues to have a crack. So it is incredibly commendable to him, Ryan.
Well, if we don't have any more retirements, 12th position, he's going to bag 114 points still, so still a decent amount of points that he can grab. Winners tonight will get 180, so, you know, for can't even talk. For a 12th position finish, 114 points isn't so bad. Decent, as we were saying, yeah, decent. It'll add up, is what I'm trying to say. God, I can't. I get a sentence out.
It's all good.
God, that English is hard.
The other closest battle on track at the moment is Michelson and Fritz. You see Fritz starting to put the pressure on the Velocity Racing driver. Half a second is the gap for the battle in P6 at the moment. But Michelson has had a very impressive race so far. 7 spots up from where he started, of course, though. If he was in there for the full half an hour qualifying, I would predict he would have just qualified in the top 10 anyway, but it's made him the biggest mover of this race so far. Biggest shakers are Stephen Brooks and Jake Edwards, both 8 spots down from where they started this race, but it appears that Jake Edwards has actually backed out, being that he is not circulating at the moment, and his gap is not changing, so I think he's not actually in this session anymore.
Yeah, dare I say, up 7 positions, Jack Michelson. If he didn't have that spin earlier on, he would have been, I would say he's up there, would have been fighting in this 5-way battle for P1. You know, only 7 seconds off those guys, so, I mean, he did have the safety car, but he would have been up even further after the spin, up maybe in 5th or 4th position, running with these guys, so.
He looks like, though, he has got the jets on at the moment, trying to build that, or trying to bring that gap down ahead of him to Matthew Gerard, the only Kiwi driver out in the field, actually, at the moment. Of course, so safety car driver Stefan McCartan is the other Kiwi in this session tonight. But, yeah, Michelson trying to bridge the gap slightly. It is dropping a fair bit, but that's, of course, because they're coming into a braking zone. But as mentioned, he has got pace about him. He's a good operator, but time will tell if he can make up another spot in the next half an hour.
Yeah, 19.4 versus a 19.6 last lap. Matthew Gerard just did a 20.1, so another 19.7 for Michelson. So that's the last 2 laps he's taken out just half a second or more on Gerard there. So gap is starting to shrink and may see a battle brewing in the next few laps.
So we see that's the gap between them. Gerard currently P5 for Velocity Sim Labs. His teammate Doug Gowans out there in the fire-breathing McLaren, although he's just come into the pits. So Gowans, Ferguson and Fritz all come in. So obviously they're going for the 2-stop tonight. Maybe they're thinking better tyre wear, or maybe the fuel allowances actually only allow for 30-odd minutes of running, Ryan.
Yeah, that may be the case then. I guess if you're running in traffic and you're within the pit window, it would be wise to pit and try to get a bit of an undercut and run in a bit of... Oh, another safety car.
So that'll be why.
This is why.
So we'll see if I can find the incident that's actually done it. I think it might have actually been Keegan Colwell again, because it said that he jumped a pit. So we'll see what's actually happened, why he's had to jump back. So he's done another Mr. Drifter down here at turn 5. No, oh, he's just lost it and into the weeds. Oh, and hard into the wall. So I reckon that's steering damage for that Fez. Yeah, he's broken that the rear swing arm on the wheel. I reckon the wheel's actually come off. It's not driving anywhere.
Yeah, they're still yet to invent the soft concrete walls, so that would have absolutely warped and tormented the rear of that car there. And as you said, that wheel, don't think it was very attached there. So
both Gerard and Michelson in. Be interesting to see if these guys actually take tyres as well.
Michelson up on the jacks.
Yeah, so he's taking
Gerard
tyres.
not on the jacks. So,
yeah. So
if they change tyres at the last stop, they shouldn't be very old and should have a bit of life in them. Now they've got more safety car running, so the wear at the end of the race isn't going to be anywhere near as bad, although Michelson is going to have much, much better tyres. So, and he's still
come
got
out before him.
How's that happened?
He's taken less fuel, I reckon.
Unless Gerard hasn't put in enough fuel at the last stop, and that's why he's down for so long. He's just under-fueled must have gotten decently lucky with another safety car then, if that's the case. So
But this actually puts Doug Gowans up into P6 and Fritz up into P5. We know that Michelson has got pace over them in terms of race running. Michelson actually has a faster lap than both of them. He's done an 18.77. Fritz did an 18.89 and Gowans did a 19.29. That is their fastest laps of the race so far. Michelson, actually, he's only 1.7 tenths off of Adam Simpson's best time in this race, the current leader. So he has got some racecraft and pace about him, so we could see a tasty battle for a top 5 finish come the end of this race, Ryan.
yeah, he's had a bit of pace in hand, but just maybe isn't as consistent on nailing those peak times as the front runners are. I was just looking at Matthew Gerard's pit time of 48-second stop, so that's a very, very long pit stop compared to the other guys around him. It's not really... It must be just filling up with fuel and he was low on it, so...
Yeah.
If that's the case, then he's gotten very, very lucky with the timing of that safety car, because that's a lot of fuel he would have put back in the car then.
So he had a pit lane travel time of 1 minute and 16 seconds. For reference, who he was in the battle with, Jack Michelson did a 48.28 pit lane travel time. So that's 30 seconds. If it wasn't a safety car, he would have lost in on-track time to Jack Michelson. So, I mean, maybe he actually didn't set a certain amount of fuel to go in, so it's just automatically filled it. But even without taking tyres, I mean, it would have been beneficial for him to take tyres because they do it at the same time as the fuel. So this could be a bit of a downside for him in terms of where he could finish at the end of this race in terms of tyre degradation and the fact that he's just lost 30 seconds to his competitors inside the pits taking too much fuel.
Yeah, he does have a fast lap of an 18.7 though, so... Again, only 1/10 off the back of Adam Simpson P1's 18.6, so does have a bit of pace in hand. Most of these guys, looking at the times, best laps are in the 18s. Jordan Ferguson's a 19.6, so just a bit good strategies got him there. Another 19.2 there for Doug Gowans, so could see maybe a bit of a check-up throughout the pack, and looks like Gerard's got a bit of work to do to get it back, but yeah, that was an uncharacteristically long stop. Stephen Brooks is also coming out of the pits 15 laps down. So again, trying to hit the minimum 75% limit, I would assume, just to get those points in.
I was just going to say, if they do waiver rounds, Jack Anderson should actually get a lap back here because he's only a lap down on the top 10, which I think, yeah, he just got it then. I just want to quickly just give a shout out as well to the SRW sponsors out there. Big thank you to Camus, Toyo Sim, Warren and Brown Tools, Promo Department, Dragon RC, Racecraft, who is our series sponsor for the GT3s, Grim Industries, Sim Magic, and Simrigs. Thank you all for supporting SRW TV and supporting these great racing events that we are able to bring you. And I think, well, this has almost arguably been the best race of the season so far. Tight battles, a nice sized field, even though it may not be as big as we might want it, but it is looking to be improving across the end of this season. Of course, we have got 2 rounds to go, I believe, after tonight. Next week we have Jerez, which unfortunately I will not be here for, but Shibi will be taking over the broadcast for that one. And then the week after, I believe, I'm going to have to check what it is now. How unprofessional of me.
We have Jerez, Oschersleben. We got a driver's pick for round 7. We got Barber Motorsport Park, and then to finish the season off with Daytona.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got about 4 rounds to go. It'll be interesting to see what the driver's pick is for that track. What track would you pick, Ryan, if you were one of these drivers? Do you reckon?
That's a loaded question.
It is a very loaded question, but
That's a loaded question.
I love asking the loaded questions. I reckon Phillip Island.
See, here's a controversial thing. I'm not the biggest fan of the Australian tracks. And I don't know whether that's because they run all the time in Australian leagues, but the way I look at it, especially with tracks like Sandown, Winton, and Oran, for instance, is if these were tracks in the UK or elsewhere, or America, we wouldn't look at them the same. We would look at a track like Sandown as we look at a track like Knock Hill, for instance. And we would look at a track like Oran as like we look like Alton.
I would make the argument Winton maybe might have the same look at it as Knock Hill. I think Sandown, it has got some character about it. It's good for production car racing, I think, because it is such a small circuit. I do think Bathurst is way too overdone. I hope they don't pick Bathurst because everyone does Bathurst. I think Phillip Island is, if it's going to be an Australian track, I think Phillip Island is the best option because not many people do it and it can actually produce some great GT racing and can lend itself to some great strategy plays. An international circuit I'd want to see, I mean, maybe Red Bull Ring, maybe Hockenheim might be a good shout. Of course, so these are mini enduro series, so I like to pick endurance-based tracks. So I guess, you know, would it be Hockenheim or maybe Nürburgring that gets chosen?
Running through the tracks now just to jog the memory. I think Interlagos is what I would pick.
Oh, that'd be a pretty good one, actually. Yeah, Interlagos would be fun as the safety car is now pulling away, and we get back. We continue our obligatory podcast chats that we like to sort of have here throughout some of the broadcasts of the GT3 series, because we want the series to go further and we want to try and put our thoughts out there as well in case anyone important is listening and they think, oh, hey, that is actually a good idea. And if the viewers think it's a good idea too, because if the viewers like it, then I think that's really good marketing wise. So, but yeah, I think Interlagos would be a good one. Hockenheim, Phillip Island, and maybe Mosport would actually be kind of fun. It's fun in an LMP2 car.
Just before we get this race running again, off the top of your head, any track you'd like to see added?
Oh, I've answered this question so many times. I have 3 tracks that I want. I want Portimao, I want Bahrain, and now I'll try and think of what the other track was off the top of my head. But we are getting ready to go racing now. I will come back to that question and answer what my 3rd track was. But we await them. I was Brno in Czech Republic. So Adam Simpson has had quite a nice jump here. He has left the CXR's car napping as we see Burgess trying to go for a move down the inside on Barber, but just backs out of it a little bit there. That was a great restart from Adam Simpson, Ryan.
Yeah, great jump there. Already up to 8/10 the gap, so just looking to break the toe already. Greg Barber, you know, just, I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe just caught sleeping, and then Burgess and Hughes with the also a bit of a crescendo effect there, so got caught up. You can't pass before the timing line, and the person in front of you doesn't go, then there's not a whole lot you can do about it. But it's, well, there saw a lot of CXR action to start the race there. Thought they might have come together into turn 1, but Burgess just did think the better of it and jumped out of the move.
Gerard here putting the pressure on Ferguson.
We know Gerard's going to have a fuel tank of fuel for the end of the race, so he's going to be definitely going to the end.
Ferguson will have the run into the next corner. Look at McIntyre though, he wants it on the action too. As they've left Gerard napping there, and McIntyre, but Gerard keeps the position there. They went too wide through there. You can do it, but it can be quite detrimental in the long run.
Yeah, Mitch McIntyre there just completely missing the front end of his Porsche, so just I don't think he had the... It's a safety car again. It looks like the 319 of Jack Anderson may have gone around. It's the only car I can see off the back of the pack there, so...
I think Stephen Brooks jumped to pit, so he's had a moment. I think Jack Anderson had a moment off the restart. He's actually ended up further back through the field, so we'll see what happened. It's him and Stephen through turn 1. Oh, and they've had a knock together. Nice little tandem through turn 1, and they're both in the wall.
That's a big hit, yeah, for the pair of them there. So it's such a high-speed corner turn, be 4th or even 5th gear. So,
I mean, we mentioned it. We mentioned at the start. That's really not a corner you want to go too wide through. That was almost identical to the moment that I had happen when I tried to do it in a Pro-Am race a couple of seasons ago, Ryan.
Yeah, and that's how my Petite Le Mans ended race last season as well in the official event. I had a LMP2 jump up the inside from about 5 car lengths back thinking he was him. He was not. He was not him, and my race was ended, unfortunately, so it's very much a single file line through there, so...
Well, we didn't even last a lap from the McLaren promo department safety car back out on track. Stefan McCartan getting a nice little share of this circuit tonight in that GT4 car. But yeah, I guess going back to our conversation before about track setting to iRacing, I want Portimao and I want Bahrain for WEC reasons, and I want Brno because I think it's actually a very underrated circuit.
I don't think I've ever seen the Brno circuit. How do you even spell that?
That's BRNO. They run it in MotoGP.
BRNO.
Yep. Another good
Lacking a
one as
vowel
well.
thing.
Another good one as well. I can't remember what the name of the circuit is, but it's the Argentinian race circuit that they run for MotoGP as well. That one's really good. It's a really nice layout. There's multiple layouts of it as well. And I think it'd be really good for GT racing too. So, yeah. So,
Moto circuit seems cool. I would.
yeah.
This might be a controversial pick, and it's got a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths due to F1. But I think the possibilities for Paul Ricard would be endless.
Oh, Paul Ricard's great. I was hoping you weren't going to say Monaco because I do not want Monaco. But Paul Ricard, it's actually not a bad track. I mean, you have so many different layouts that you can have. It can lead to great production car racing, even open wheel racing as well. I agree with you. I think Paul Ricard would be fantastic. But I think, yeah, the top of my list would either be Portimao or the... I need to look up what the Argentinian race circuit is now, just so I know what it is.
If you had to take a guess how many track configurations, and don't Google it while you're on there now, of Paul Ricard there are, how many would you say?
Doesn't have like 13 or 14.
Yeah, you're very far south.
Or is it like 20?
It's 167.
That makes sense.
Because it's the thing about Paul Ricard is it's the way it's constructed. It can be run. You got every single different layout and all the different tracks you can do, and then you grab all of those tracks and you can do all of them in reverse as well.
So it's the track that I'm thinking of in Argentina is Tomás de Rio Hondo. So Jack in the chat as well saying at least 8 minutes of repairs for him off that incident. Very unfortunate. That will likely be the end of his race off that incident there. So very unfortunate for him. The safety car will now pull away. But yeah, I think if those 4 tracks came into iRacing that I mentioned, I would buy them within a heartbeat.
You did say, I'm not sure if you saw in the iRacing tour, I'm sure you did, but Willow Springs seems to be like it's going to be added next season, which is one of the great tracks.
Oh,
I remember originally racing that in GT Sport and just thinking like, when you're out there, it's just like such a strange one. It's like, is this a safety car has pulled away as we're saying, but it just seems like it's almost not real. Like it's just in the middle of nowhere, and it's just like that very. It's very different. I guess it would be a lot similar to Phillip Island, I would say.
Yeah,
Willow Springs.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. There are also, well, since we're racing GT3 tonight, there's also rumours of maybe the Mustang GT3 getting added as well alongside it. Although the promo footage that they put out for Willow Springs had the Aston Martin GT4, so maybe we get the Mustang GT4 car, maybe we get both. But look at the CXR cars putting the pressure on Adam Simpson, but he has gone early once again, and look at the jump that he's had over Greg Barber in P2. We have 15 minutes of racing to go, 10 minutes until no more safety cars, Ryan. And we have got 10 cars on track on the lead lap. Only the 10 cars on track. Keegan Caldwell's actually pulled out.
Yeah, just switched it up a bit. Time going well before the exit of turn 12 there. Greg Barber was a bit of the wiser though. 4 tenths instead of 8 last time at the jump, so nice on the back of Adam Simpson now. Just not going to get away that easy this time, and the CXR cars are going to be chomping the bit to try to get back in the front here. So Adam Hughes now in this 7 tenths on the back of Greg Barber, won his P1 back.
So we will see how much pressure these CXR boys can put on the Piranha of the Fishy Motorsports BMW, driven by Adam Simpson at the moment. He's led this race ever since not the last restart before now, but 2 restarts ago. He got the jump on the boys and he got the move done. And he's on track for a great win, but these CXR boys are not going to make it easy for him, Ryan.
Absolutely not. It's 3v1 here. Is Greg Barber very deep on the brakes, almost in the back there of Adam Simpson, but got it pulled up nicely. He's got a bit of a team effort. It's almost unfair to have one car. The only beneficiary is this time he's in the front instead of fighting from behind, so the only thing is, once we have one car go through, they're going to be definitely helping each other to all go through. So once it rains, it pours with that.
Gerard again putting the pressure back on Jack Michelson. I mentioned earlier though, Michelson has got fresher tyres, although the safety car would have done dividends for Gerard here and made his tyres just that little bit sweeter. But it's going to be telltale come the end of this race whether he can keep up with that fresh rubber on the BMW just ahead of him.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be rubbing his hands together, not changing his tyres at the last stopper, but the only thing now is maybe a bit overfield. He looks to the inside there of Michelson, but just doesn't have enough overlap to get the move done. And the space does not need to be given there for Michelson, as there was no overlap anywhere near or at all there. So I guess a few of these drivers now with the 2 safety cars, a bit of overfuel, I would say, in a few of these cars. So it may be if you have underfueled and you were hoping for another safety car, you know, you're going to be paying the paying dividends in the end there. But I would highly doubt any of the drivers dare risk that. It's hard to gamble your race on an absolute unknown.
So we'll head back up the front now. Look at the top 4. They have pulled away from Daniel Fritz and P5 at the moment. And, well, this is the battle for the win now. And these CXR boys will be wanting a 1-2-3 finish today, but Adam Simpson wants to make up for mistakes made throughout the season and wants to take victory here in Racecraft GT3 Series, the Mini Enduro Series brought to you on SRW TV. He's got 13 minutes until the checkered flag waves. As we see Hughes, maybe a little bit of team strategy here. Barber knows Hughes can put the pressure on him, although he's not giving up the position easily to his teammate in behind.
Yeah, no, let them race, as they say. Definitely, it's going to be hard to go around the outside. You got 2 right-hand corners, so pulling to the left-hand side, you're going to be tall ass to get around the outside, both there. But that's cost Greg Barber a bit of time now. The gap out to 6/10. Hughes only 1/10 now off the back of Greg, though, so at least that's what it's saying on the timing tower. It doesn't look like it's saying that on the graphics here, but definitely not a 7/10 gap to Hughes there, so
it'll be 7/10 from the leader.
Yeah, that's gap to the leader. I see. That's not interval. That's gap. Yeah. I'm looking at.
So the interval will be
Apologies for that.
0.2 of a second. Just saying that, actually, we might just bring up the interval so then people know what the exact gap is between these drivers and how closely contested they are.
As soon as those words left my mouth, I'm like, it's not. It says gap, Ryan, not interval. I was like, come on.
So we will stick with this for a moment unless we find anything closer. Everyone's starting to spread out a little bit now, starting to take it a little bit easy, but they need to put the pressure on here. Doug Gowans, though, has actually gotten past Daniel Fritz, and the fire-breathing dragon is in the top 5.
Miles Burgess there, I was just about to say 1 second separates the top 4, but just as I was going to say, gap out now to 1.5 to the lead for Miles Burgess, so just lost a bit of time there through turn 5 as we see Doug Gowans shoot down the inside here of turn 12 and just had the jump on the brakes there to BMW, so should be easy done. He was going to have they ran side by side, he was going to have the inside of the turn 1 anyway, so no point fighting it and losing time for both the cars, so
Matthew Gerard has had a moment. Sorry to interrupt, Ryan. This has big implications for the top 7 cars at the moment.
That's a big moment. Yeah, just caught the outside of the grass there. Just running very close to the car in front. It's so hard to see where you're going. You need to trust the car in front isn't also going to run wide, which he did a little bit. Almost followed him out there and then some. So. Back
to what we were saying before about Miles and these gaps that are starting to form.
Yeah, Miles has just dropped off the back there. Now the gap out to 1.3 seconds. So turn 5 seems a bit of a problem spot there for Miles. He's dropped off the pack completely here. 2 seconds forward. He must have come around there. It's down to 2.4 the gap. 1.5, yeah. So maybe didn't come around, but turn 5 seems to be the big spot. And as we were saying earlier, these mid-engines in turn 5, the BMWs in front have really been excellent down through sector 1 and through sector 2 there, through the S's and the exit of turn 5. It's really been taken care of well. The mid-engine cars have been really struggling, it seems, today. Just hit it a little bit wrong. It gets completely unsettled.
See Fritzy going a bit wide at the exit of turn 4. That gave Jack Michelson another position up into P6 now.
Very, very close there between the two of them. Just a little bit of contact in the apex, but Michelson didn't quite come around. Big wobble there, so just enough room left maybe thought he was going to clear him around the corner with the extra speed he was carrying, but it did try to battle it, but there wasn't a whole lot he could do when the car ahead was that far in front.
So we are 9 minutes away from the end, 4 minutes away from guaranteed no more safety cars in this affair. We've had, is it already 4 up to this point in this race? I think it's 4,
Yep,
isn't it?
4.
Yeah.
We had 1 at the start. We
Yeah.
had 2 pretty much back to back just before, and then 1 a bit earlier on. So yeah, 4 safety cars this race.
So ironically, Road Atlanta producing more safety cars than what Long Beach did with F3s on Wednesday night.
F3s, I find these street circuits is one of the ones where you actually get not a lot of them because everyone goes into it knowing drives not as hard as they normally would as a road track like, sorry, not a road track, like a purpose-built track like this one. So just drive a little bit on the safer side as Adam Hughes looks up the inside of Greg Barber. It seemed like they're going to run side by side through turn 12. Hughes, he's going to have the inside for turn 1. Didn't. Greg Barber looks like he's just had a bit more speed on the exit and was able to hold the position. Unless Hughes did in fact get out of it, as he didn't want to lose too much time between the pair of them. I'm sure they're communicating in a call, trying not to lose Adam Simpson, but this is exactly what Simpson wants to see. His gap's out to 1.1 seconds now. So these guys got a bit of work to do to catch them. It's definitely not over and done with yet, but Adam Simpson just able to get himself a little bit of breathing room. Husey again looks to the outside. Greg Barber defending. They are definitely racing each other as we see a bit of a swap of position after all there. So Greg would definitely just going to sit behind now and try to chase down the race leader, as Burgess as well almost back in on it, just sitting on the bubble here with 1.1 seconds.
So Jack Anderson is now back out on track after taking his 8 minutes of repairs. There's a bit of a battle here between Michelson and Fritz for P6. They run down the hill up to the chicane, up to the 4D section of this Road Atlanta circuit. Michelson will have a better line though, being on the inside. See how it happens, and he just gets past him nice and easy there. So Fritz was smart about that. He knew if he tried to go too wide, he would lose out in terms of corner exit out of the exit of the chicane. So it was a smart just to kind of give the position there, but stay nice and close to him. Only 4/10 is the gap, or just over 3/10 is the gap now between these two BMW drivers.
Yeah, good few battles coming into the closing stages of this race here. Only about 6.5 minutes remaining, so the Porsche car, it's the Porky that could, as Greg Barber just runs a little bit wide there. That's going to cost him quite a bit of time. Turn 5 looks to be the spot of laps. God, can't talk again. The spot where a lot of drivers are losing the most lap time tonight, and to see it again in the final stages. But here it is, Adam Hughes and Adam Simpson, Battle of the Atoms. Which Adam is greater? Stay tuned to find out. Oh, that was terrible. That was terrible.
There's no electron, proton, or neutron in this battle for the atoms, but one of them, I mean, the question is, will they collide and create a black hole for Miles Burgess to get through and take the lead of this race? Time will tell. We've got 5.5 minutes to go, roughly, of this race now. It'll be roughly, I'd say, 4 laps for Adam Hughes to get it done over Simpson, just ahead of him. But Simpson will not give it up easily.
Yeah, absolutely not. This is do or die time for Hughesy here. It's only, less than just about 5 minutes remaining, and opportunities are going to come few and far between. About a minute 18 lap time, so looking at about 4-ish, maybe 5 laps left in the race. Depends on when they cross the line to get the white flag. So about 4 or 5, and really the only great spot is down into turn 10, as Hughesy now is really right on the back of Adam Simpson. The gap only 18 hundredths. 1.8 tenths doesn't make sense. Tenths is the point already, but now right on the back. Simpson not going to defend the inside, it seems. Just, doesn't quite have the overlap. Hughes is going to go deep on the brakes. No, it just thinks better of it. Pulls back in behind, and around they go again for another go.
Well, this battle is intensifying. We mentioned week in and week out about the pressure gauges breaking. Can Adam Simpson's pressure gauge hold out here against Hughes? We see him defend the inside of turn 1. A very smart defensive maneuver from the leader of this race right now. He's led about half of the proceedings so far. He wants to take victory today. He doesn't want to just roll over and give another win to CXR. He wants to get this win for Fishy, and he has the capabilities to do it, and he's in the position to do it. It's whether he will crack under pressure, although, Ryan, as they say, pressure creates diamonds, and Simpson could be on for a jewel of a performance here.
Yeah, it's been an excellent race so far, and he just looks to cap it off. He will not settle for P2 or anything less at this stage. It's going to be do or first or nothing, it would seem. 2 tenths only the gap again. It's going to be very, very tight every go around through the chicane. We saw it earlier. It was very mundane defense into turn 1. All you got to do is not give him the inside, and it's not a lot you can do from around the outside. Gap down to less than a tenth now, heading into the braking zone. Late pull out there from Hughes, very deep on the brakes. Side by side, running through the chicane. Simpson's going to keep the position cool, calm and collected. Kept it around the outside, but he's going to have a compromised run now down into turn 12. And Hughes is going to be right on the back of him again through turn 1. Simpson immediately over to the left, but Hughes even more over to the left. Shows him the nose, but not going to get it done. Maybe going for a little bit of a switchback now into turn 2. Up the hill they go. Into turn 3. He's going to have the inside here, and he's going to get the move done. Ran a little bit wide, though, through turn 4, and it's going to be side by side now down through the S's. Simpson now back into the lead, side by side, both on the brakes.
Oh,
Simpson
over the grass.
Both keeping it straight. Now Burgess is back.
Oh, there's been a touch!
No!
And this has promoted Miles Burgess up into P1. I have to wonder, though, Ryan, if that was a bit of a netcode moment there. Funnily enough, it's put the fire-breathing dragon of Gowans into a podium position.
Gowans cannot believe it. He was quite a bit back, 6 seconds off the pack, if not more. So about 7 seconds now. Burgess is in the lead, but seems Hughes has completely stopped and let Simpson hold the position, although both of them are not going to be the beneficiaries of that. Both now 4th and 5th respectively. Yeah, just carrying a bit more speed through there, and there was a touch. Didn't look like a whole lot of netcode there, and yeah, immediately pulls over and Hughes, he was in the wrong there, but wow, exciting stuff there. That was a very good racing up until that point. It was excellent.
So Miles Burgess, who has waited in the wings all day to get his opportunity to get out the front. He now has a 2-second gap back to his teammate. Jack Anderson has had another moment here. We'll quickly cut to it, see what's happened to that weakened car. It comes through. Oh, and just a big slide through turn 5. And that Audi is not happy at the moment, Ryan.
Yeah, it's finish line can't come sooner for that Audi. Is just to mitigate the damage so far, but Burgess was, had that incident a bit earlier that Audi was just not happy through turn 5 all race. Dropped off the pack, was in P4 by about 2 seconds, but all of a sudden now Greg sits behind Burgess. Burgess in the lead with a 2-second lead. All he needs to do is keep it clean for another lap, and the win will be his.
Sheafy in the chat as well saying, let's go, Doug. I mean, he's a little bit of a sentimental favourite right now, running in that fire-breathing dragon of a McLaren, up to P3, up 4 spots in this race. And, well, I mean, it's gone from the possibility of a CXR top 3 as we get the white flag lap. So Miles Burgess comes onto the final lap of this race, lap 58, leading the charge. But as Adam Hughes now comes in the pit, so I have to assume he's actually gotten a penalty there from race control. Unfortunately, race control not coming up on screen for this race.
I was just waiting for a second to jump in there. Just got a last-minute call there from race control. DT car 95 for contact with car 222 there, so we know we saw that incident live on screen, and we know exactly what it was for. So although he did give the position back for a redress, unfortunately they still lost out there for Adam Simpson, and penalty was always going to be coming, unfortunately. So
This has promoted Jack Michelson up into the top 5 of this race now. Mitch McIntyre up to P6 and Matthew Gerard up to P7 and Jordan Ferguson up to P8. So that is, well, the bonuses for those guys of where they are in this race. But, well, we've only got 3 or 4 corners to go in this one, Ryan, and Miles Burgess looks to take victory here at Road Atlanta for round 4.
Yeah, just needs to keep it clean for the last couple of corners here. Gets it all nice and square through the chicane. And it's a straight shot now. Just keep it foot flat, maybe even lift just to be safe through turn 12. But here we are, Miles Burgess, round 4 at Road Atlanta for the Racecast GT3 Mini Enduro, takes the win. Didn't see it coming 5 laps ago, I will say that. Greg Barber across the line in P2. Doug Gowans, the flame-throwing McLaren, comes across in P3. Adam Simpson able to come across in P4. I'm sure he'll be disappointed with that one, all things considered. Jack Michaels, an excellent drive today. Infinity Motorsports coming around in P5, starting from pretty much the back of the grid. I don't know how this Porsche is still going.
Oh, it's
P6
a
Mitch
survivor.
McIntyre. That is incredible to see that car across the line in P6. Matthew Gerard in P7 and Jordan Ferguson there in P8. Husey in 9th and Fritz in 10th.
And then Jack Anderson, bit of a consolation, but P11 on debut, so wouldn't have been where he wanted to finish this race, but at least he was running all the way to the end in that Audi. So it's it's quite I don't want to say an impressive win for Miles, because he didn't lead the whole race, but he was there when it mattered, and he took the win. You see the struggling to do the burnouts in the R8 at the moment. I bet you he would have turned off that traction control to make sure he could do it, but it was a good win from him and for CXR. It's a 1-2 for CXR today, and then, well, Velocity Sim Labs make it onto the bottom of the podium, their first podium of the season, and it's Doug Gowans, the grandpa, in the old fire-breathing Dragon, takes out P3.
Yeah, it's incredible drive there for Doug Gowans. It's just kept himself in the right place at the right time, and the same thing can be said for Miles Burgess. Both of these guys, just kept their noses clean for most of the race there, and when it all unravels, you just got to be ready to snatch what you can. But they both did, and they both got podium positions because of it.
So then your provisional race results for today's race here out at Road Atlanta for round 4 of the SRW TV Racecraft Mini Enduro GT3 Series here, season 2. Miles Burgess takes victory for Crisscross Racing, just ahead of his teammate Greg Barber in P2, and then Doug Gowans makes up the bottom of the podium there in P3. Adam Simpson, well, it was an unfortunate finish for him, but consolation is he gets to finish in P4 today for Fishy Motorsports. Jack Michelson in P5 there. I know it says Infinity Motorsport, but he now races for Velocity. P6 goes to Mitch McIntyre. Matthew Gerard in P7. Jordan Ferguson from Velocity as well out in P8. Adam Hughes finishes in P9, and then Daniel Fritz in P10, and then Jack Anderson, the last of our running drivers on track for Velocity as well, finishes out in P11. Stephen Brooks, Keegan Corbell, Jake Edwards, and Jet Murray, although he did not start the race, were all of our lost drivers throughout the process for today. Ryan, we have got Doug Gowans, and for some reason Tyler Sheaf in the green room. I don't know why he's in there. He did not finish on the podium, so we'll bring Doug in quickly. Doug, with your fire-breathing Dragon, you somehow get your way into P3 onto the podium for the first time this season. A big congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you very much, mate. I think I should go buy a lotto ticket after that one.
I mean, mate, you were in the hunt all day. You managed to keep the car clean. A couple of moments throughout the race, though, but I guess in the end, all that matters is that you were able to get that McLaren on the podium.
Yeah, that's right. Look, there was one particular section of the track where it was in between either going through in third or second, and it's just a bugger, and it kept catching me out quite a bit, so I was a bit slower than the other guys in front. But hey, look, I'm stoked with the P3 and the GT3s any day of the week.
Oh, mate, you done really well there. Ryan, I mean, is there anything that you want to say to the great man?
Doug, mate, congratulations. All I got to ask is why the McLaren?
I think it's one sexy-looking car, to be honest. I know it's one of the oldest on the service, and I quite like the close feel that you have inside the cockpit. But apart from that, yeah, it's not the best car to drive, I've got to say. It's not the fastest anyway.
It's not the fastest, but it does spit the most fire.
It sure does, mate. That's one of the reasons why I chose it.
Oh, mate, very good. Massive congratulations to you on your P3 and bringing, an absolute meme of a car into the podium finishes today. If there's anyone you want to give a shout out to and a thanks to, mate, now is your time to do so.
Yeah, thanks to Sim Racing World and Warren and Brown Tools and you guys and the broadcasting. Yes, Steve from Velocity, Original Digital Design, and then teammates, Matty Gerard, and we were having a good chat with Fritzy as well throughout the race. So it was good fun, really enjoyed it. And congrats to P1 and P2.
Very good, mate. Well, we'll just quickly move on now to a man who normally runs a GT3 M4 around as a safety car driver, but tonight finds himself in P2. Greg, I mean, you're having a mega battle there with Adam, both Adams throughout that race. But how was that one for you, mate, coming home in P2?
Yeah, look, I'm pretty happy with P2 in the end. I made a couple of late mistakes there that really should have had me back off the podium. So if not for Adam and Adam's little dicey moment there at the end. But no, it was a bit of a mixed race at the start. We were never sure whether or not we were going to make it on one stop. So it was kind of push for a bit, see what the fuel's doing, fuel safe for a bit, see what the fuel's doing. And then even driving around in that second last safety car, we weren't sure. So it was good that we got to go for it at the end, and yeah, just didn't quite have the pace to take it to Adam Simpson, and thought I'd let Hughesy have a go, and then the rest is history.
Greg, mate, congratulations on the P2. I've got to ask, I think it was restart number 2 or 3. You managed to grab P1 heading into turn 1. Just not sure what happened. How were you able to get such a good jump?
Yeah, Hughesy left his fuel map in safety car mode. That's how I got a good jump.
That makes sense. We weren't sure. I suspected wrong gear because it just seemed when he put the foot down, it just went nowhere. So
yeah, that's what it was. Forgot to ramp his fuel map up for the start, and he fell back a couple of spots, and so got into P1. And that was the point of the race where I was really trying to save some fuel, and that's when Simo got me. And then sort of as the race went on, we were able to push a bit harder. And yeah, I wasn't really sure where we're at pace-wise, but I think it's pretty hard to pass around this place. If you get a good exit out of that slow right-hander down the back, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, it's a long run down into the chicane there, and it's about pretty much the only spot you can get a move done.
And then you've got to
get a nose up turn 1, but that's pretty much it.
And then you've got to complete the pass in the sort of the first part of the chicane. Otherwise, they just pass you again through the next few sweepers. So yeah, it's tough.
Well, congratulations, mate, on the P2. Do you want to shout anybody out?
I'll shout out to Miles, who's going to cover all our sponsors tonight.
Very good, mate. Well, my old friend, the bridesmaid, never the bride, finally gets up on the top step, gets to finally have a chat to me after a race win. Miles, mate, we've known each other for a long time. This win's been a long time coming for you. You sat in the background for a little bit there between the battle with both Adams and Greg, and you take home the victory at the Burning Embers.
Yeah, I won't lie. It was pretty lucky what happened between 1, Greg, and 2, Adam. But aside from that, I had minimal mistakes on my end. I had a couple little saves towards the end, but I don't think I could have done much else. And yeah, Adam, Greg, and Adam all had pace on me. So without that little incident at the end, I think it probably would have stuck me back in P3 or P4. So pretty grateful for that. But otherwise, bloody happy to get a win instead of a second place.
Well, mate, I mentioned, it's been a long time coming. We've known each other for many years now. And I think when you mentioned to me a little while ago, you were almost on the broadcast all the time when we were down on numbers a little bit. But I guess now you're on the broadcast at the right time when you cross the line and take victory. I mean, how does this one feel for you taking... is it your first victory in the GT3 Series here on SRW?
I believe so. Yeah, amazing. I'm so happy about it. It's I didn't think it would happen this season. Just being with people like Adam in the series, having a bit of extra pace on me for most rounds. So I think it was always going to take a little bit of luck.
Oh, very good, man. I might pass to Ryan in case Ryan has got something to ask you here. Don't want to make it all about mine and Miles' little bit of a relationship that we already share. But yeah, Ryan, if there's anything you want to ask him.
I was just letting you guys get it on. It was cute. But just got to be in the right place at the right time, as you said, and you're able to pick up the win. We did see a few times the car looked like a bit of a handful there through turn 5. Is that just like a mid-engine thing then with the Audi?
I believe so. It's just sort of a little bump on the curve kind of unsettles it a bit. It really throws the weight balance around because in that corner in the Audi, you really need to chuck it in because it does understeer so much through the second part of that corner. If you don't, then you'll be off in the grass on the right-hand side. But the trick is to not hit the curb because it's too hard because it really unsettles it.
Well, mate, congratulations on your win tonight. Maiden win. Did you want to shout out your sponsors?
Yeah, so big thank you for you guys putting on the broadcast. SRW, Race Control, Shunt Scenery as well, Palmerston Bakery, Jennifer Russell Real Estate, Poolmaster Bayside, Doomed Works, and Game Changer.
Very good, mate. Well, a massive congratulations to you on your maiden win. And congratulations to CXR as well on another 1-2. Impressive performance from both you and Greg and Adam up until the end there. But you guys were still really the name of the game at the moment in this GT3 series. I mean, no one's really, apart from Adam Simpson, no one's really been able to put the pressure on you guys. But I guess it's commendable when it comes down to your teamwork and your ethics as a team as well.
Yeah, it was good to get a battle with Adam as well this round. Aside from just Greggy and Adam.
Very good, boys. Well, we might let you go so we can round it out. But thanks for joining us and having a chat to us as well.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Very good. Well, that is that rounds out our racing for tonight, Ryan. And it was I would argue that was probably the best race of the season. Action all throughout, great battles, great moments, and a surprising P3 finish for our sentimental favourite in Doug Gowans, and Miles takes out his maiden win as well.
Yeah, a lot of first times there. Did you have a pick for your driver of the day?
I would probably argue. You know what? I'd argue it's either going to come down to Doug or maybe Jack Michelson. I mean, Michelson up 8 spots, finishes in P5, but I think Doug edges it a little bit there. He was within the fight all day, managed to get up into P3, and just came away with a surprise podium today. What would you say?
Yeah, I was gonna say exactly the same thing. It'd be rude not to give it to the fire-breathing dragon. So, I think we can lock that in. Doug Gowan's our driver of the day.
Very good. Well, a massive congratulations to him on his P3 and his driver of the day as well. Next time out here in the Racecraft GT3 Series, of course, you will not have me producing for you, but you will be welcomed to Nathan Shibby Howard taking over from the production for next Friday night out at Jerez. This has been a great, fantastic round 4 here tonight. Great to call it alongside you, Ryan. I look forward to when I come back in 2 weeks to call the action out at Urschersleben. But this has been the Racecraft GT3 Series brought to you on SRW TV. Just to give a quick shout out as well to Warren & Brown Tools, because they are actually the reason we are able to go to Motorex tomorrow once again. If you want to come see us at Motorex, we will be in the, I think it's the performance tent right outside the bar. Come by, get a drink. Got 2 sim rigs set up there with Camus, pedals. If you had to come and have a chat to us, me, Stephen, Dean, and Mr. Dink as well. Come and have a chat to us. Come and see us if you're there tomorrow or on Sunday as well. But a big thank you to Ryan for joining me in the booth tonight. Big thank you to everyone who watched the stream as well. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, as we are giving away a SimRigs rig. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, the only caveat is you must be subscribed when the giveaway happens. Once again, it's been a fantastic race out here tonight. I've been Hamish Munro. This has been Ryan Green. Thank you for joining us on SRW TV. We'll see you next time for Sunday night's SimRigs Supercars Pro-Am. Bye for now.
The total one, this is amazing. Up to clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff from Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce 10